Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Trader TV Live. Futures starting the day flat here. The NQ up about 0.14. A bit of a mixed bag right now for some of these equity names. We'll keep an eye on that. Much to talk about this week. We've got Jackson Hole starting out on Wednesday with Jerome Powell slated to speak on Friday. We've also got the Fed minutes coming up. AMD also reporting yesterday that they're going to be making a big acquisition in the AI server business. So many different things to talk about again this morning. Good morning, Adair.
Good morning, Kate. How are you?
Not too bad. Yourself?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I think it'll be a really exciting week. We do have actually the AMD press conference with regards to that acquisition set to start at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So right now, that'll be something we'll be keeping eyes on here. Also a big week for some of these cybersecurity related names. PANW, Palo Alto Networks reporting after the bell today, and we'll have Snowflake reporting after the bell on Wednesday. Should be an exciting week.
Lots of biotech stocks moving this morning as a result of monkeypox making its return onto the scene. Many different small cap gappers, GovX and some others going to be in play today, so keep your eye on those. We'll also have a couple of earnings names after the bell tonight. We'll get to those in a second, but let's start off with the boys. What are you guys looking at? Good morning, guys.
Morning, everybody. We got to look at the chips. I mean, let's be real. Like, AMD makes a big deal. Got to sell more GPUs. Got to compete with Nvidia.
Stay in there.
Nvidia wants to see that 125 level. There's a lot going on. Gold made some record highs, pulling back a little bit. Bitcoin back down just a tiny bit. And as you mentioned, it's like all the big volume this morning is in these MPOX stocks. MPOX stocks. Here we go. So you're going to have a lot of them flying around here today. If you're a small cap trader, I think those are the ones that you're looking for. Maybe a little bit of Fubo as well. But I think you stay in the pocket with these chip names, man. And the AMD and Nvidia are both going to be movers in here today and running into some key levels. I didn't realize this, but AMD did a death cross the other day. Right in the middle of that massive week. The biggest candle of upside was the day that it did a death cross.
Stocks that have been left for dead recently. We had Starbucks with a big move up. I mean, Google right now is trying to make a move that's up at 1.45%. So what was dead maybe is alive one more time. Big week for retail, right? We had Walmart last week come through. This week we're gonna have Target and Lowe's coming out.
Target.
73.50 right now for Walmart. That continues to like sort of creep a little bit higher and breaking out through all these kind of levels. Welcome to the show, everybody. Google, I really like. Palantir, I mean, a name that we'll have to keep on watching because it's seems like it wants to get higher and higher and higher. There is up 2% more today for Palantir. As that just continues to truck along. We'll see if we get any dips into the close, previous close there. I didn't really look at Tesla yet, but this is a name that I think we should be trading because we had said if we could ever break above even that 202 level that we had broken above, the next stop was 220. And we got pretty close to that on Friday, if not hit it, and then retraced back. It was at 219. What was the high there on Friday? Hold on, let's just zoom back out. Yeah, right there. So So, all right. So my bad. It does get to basically 220. We watched that happen there early on Friday, and then it faded out and kind of just left for dead all afternoon. But I think we can break that 220 again here today on Tesla. So, yeah, lots of action to look for. We're gonna have Michael Noss coming through in a couple minutes, talk about some of his plays and what he's looking for. But yeah, we're really excited. Brendan on vacay this week.
Yes,
and next
sir.
week, 2 weeks. Of no more Brendan for a minute. So we're happy to have Sharif and Adara back over there on the desk. So, all right, putting down some notes, making sure we got the right trade. It could be a slow week. We'll see. Earnings going to hopefully boost some of this action, Amazon and whatnot.
PanW, I think, is going to be a big one because after that CrowdStrike mess,
Right.
all they have to do is say, hey, we're seeing a little bit of an uptick in business after the outages from CrowdStrike. Boom. And they should be good to go. So I'm looking forward to that one after the bell. But, you know, we got some things to get to before we get there.
And it's something you and I have talked about. You and I talked about this last week.
Yeah.
PanW possibly getting a bit of a tailwind as a result of the issues that CrowdStrike has had. We're looking for some of these companies moving their business elsewhere. I should tell you that I'm also involved in PanW, so talking my own book a little bit over here. But that's something that you and I talked about last week.
Yeah.
Where do these guys go? Do they go to Snowflake? Do they move over somewhere else? Where's the look for them?
Well, I think what's really interesting, too, is Snowflake is not also immune to some of these issues. Before that massive CrowdStrike outage, I believe about a week before, we did have that news with the AT&T hacking, which was attributed to a breach of Snowflake. So Snowflake could also be on watch. We know that BRKB, Berkshire Hathaway, did sell their position in that stock as well. So this could be a bit of an interesting look for snow. Worth noting as well, CrowdStrike does report next week as well, August 28th, same day as Nvidia. So there should be a lot of excitement in this cybersecurity space as their earnings season gets started.
Oh, yes. We're still in the middle of earnings season, despite the fact that we've been in it for a while. Let's talk about Fubo here, Adara. This was a good story for them last week. They won their case at first instance against the likes of Disney, ESPN, Fox, and Warner Brothers to prevent them from creating a larger conglomerate. It's supposed to be called Venue, and it's supposed to basically have a whole bunch of sports all amalgamated there. Fubo sued in court, claiming that they were essentially a monopoly, a multi-year monopolistic monopoly, and the judge agreed at first instance there, so up about 16%.
Yeah, and this is a suit that began in February. We initially first got reports of this and then confirmation on Friday night. And it's interesting as well, Friday morning, before we get that lawsuit news, we also had Fubo launching its Fubo Sports Network on Prime Video channels. So some exciting sports news, I guess, for Fubo right now, definitely one on watch.
All right, what's the look, guys? Fubo.
Got a bit of a short float. There's no question about that. And you always love, look, at the end of the day, stocks go up, stocks go down. I don't mind. We don't mind trading them in every direction. But when it's got a short float, you do want it to be going to the upside. And obviously things with 17, this is a 17% short float. Usually you're doing so because the daily chart doesn't look very good. And if you trend short something like this, hey, you haven't been losing. Let's be real. But on Friday, we're looking for this 160 to break. It didn't really go anywhere. Risked a couple cents on it, but there was just no continuation. Now you're gapping out and above. Looks like there's room. The 200 period's at essentially $2. Resistance up here at 220. So these little resistance zones here in the 160, that's what I'd like to hold on a dip buy. That's what I threw in my note. I'm like, just if we hold the mid 160s, looking for a bounce and continuation on Fubo. Now there's going to be an appeal, obviously, in this case, so I'm sure we haven't heard the last of this, but yeah, good temporary news for them because the last thing you need is look, sports and live streaming of sports is basically like the last hill to die on for live TV or live streaming, live events. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a huge, huge battle. Fubo's kind of going to be undergunned here. And if they can actually have a successful defense on this appeal, I think it's actually good for them. So we'll see about that. But the price action just tells me dip buys in the previous resistance in the mid 160s. That's what I care about here today. Good volume. Expect to see that continue at least for one more day.
Yeah, so look, I was looking at this thing the same way. You break through this 160. I mean, we only call ourselves two kind of traders, right? Breakouts and support and resistance. I mean, honestly, right into there, 160, 170. I mean, now we've broken out from this level. So I feel like it is a definite long into here, Fabian, if we can get this one more time. There it is, 170. So, we held it back. I mean, this goes all the way back to 2022. So 2022 there, early 2023 here again, holding $1.60, holding $1.60 the full way until eventually it rockets higher. So, I mean, I think this is a long. I like the long, and with proper stock, I don't want to say manipulation, but you're up 19%. I mean, this thing could really start to fly here if we just look at the share structure and things like that. So let's wait to see what winds up happening here with Fubo. I think, honestly, this 220 is in jeopardy today. So I'd watch out for that for sure. If you're long, maybe you get something out in and around 220, but you could also break that too. So I really like this trade. I don't think it stops at 220. I think you go more than that. So even if you get to 220, that's huge now, right? Add 40 cents onto 180, you'll take another 25% up. And then I think you take something out and then you wait to see if anything else can break even higher than that. So yeah, right now, I'm all about this one, man. For us, buy, something that says an O at the end. For us, buy others? For us, buy others. Yeah, for us, buy, I was going to say all, but O is not A. So not Fubu, but Fubo right there.
I remember Fubu, man. Like they were the ish for a hot minute, but those days have certainly gone by the wayside. Yeah, they're definitely done. Did you say manipulation?
Yeah, that was a good one by Oscarito because I said, let's see if this stock can get manipulated higher here. And I feel like that is what
squeeze it.
What could happen. But yeah, I don't think it's Manipulation Monday yet, but that could be it. It's not capitulation Monday, I don't think. It's
Ooh.
only down.
Hope not.
Or flat right now. That was 2 Mondays ago,
Yeah.
capitulation Monday.
Although it didn't last. Like that capitulation Monday was.
Capitulation, right?
It was.
One bang.
Oh, the plunge protection team was in full force 2 Mondays ago.
Yeah, I heard that.
We don't need them today.
You know who came in to buy everything? The companies themselves.
Yeah, a lot of buybacks, a lot of stuff like that happened.
I think that's what I was reading. That's what turned the market that day, was just all the companies got together and said enough is enough, because Apple has all the companies have these.
Well, they have these huge buyback
plans.
plans.
So they came in and said this market is down. That's a nice story. Let's just get richer, and they bought their own stock up. So
well, this is something we talked about with Chris Brecher. Actually, was it a couple of weeks? I want to say it was a couple of weeks ago. The timing of when they can and can't do buybacks, because all these companies have buybacks out there, so they're buying shares whenever, but they can't do it in the final 10 minutes of the session. So a lot of the times when you get these big reversals, especially sell and balance comes in and no one's pairing it off, we'd have those tanks a few weeks ago, not as much in the last couple of weeks, but that would be that zone where you're not seeing the buybacks be done, and the second that bid is gone, a lot of stocks were falling in that last hour of the day. Now that reversed in these last couple of weeks that we've had there, but yeah, it's a good thing to keep in mind always. Like things you want to know about big cap companies: do they have buybacks out there? Things you want to know about small cap companies: do they already have a offering that they can just drop on you at any moment, or do they have to actually start a filing for it? So you got to know that if you're trading a small cap, or if you're swinging a small cap trading, who cares? But big cap companies, same thing, man. It's buybacks for big ones, offerings for small ones. They matter.
DNC starts today, Dara, so many different possibilities here for some stocks. We've got weed, we got marijuana on watch. That could be moving, as well as some product or some announcements could come out of the DNC. We'll also be on the lookout for solar as well. Solar did very well last time around in the beginning of the Biden administration, so we'll keep an eye on that. Up marginally right now, solar and some of these weed names. Nothing obviously announced yet, but yeah, today's the first day of the DNC.
Definitely something to be aware of. These are both sectors that, as we've talked about quite a bit, I know you and I have talked about this as well, with solar, can move quite a lot, can be very sensitive with rates. Also, though, always be aware of what some of these cannabis-related stocks can do. We know we had that run-up in MSOS a couple weeks ago when Donald Trump hinted at potential legalization or decriminalization of marijuana. So these are certainly sectors, especially in that marijuana and cannabis space, that can get moving. We'll definitely keep an eye on that for you guys.
Yeah, MSOX, guys, up about 2.5% here, with some of these other names flat, guys. What's the look?
Yeah, the cannabis names I'm not as excited about this week. I mean, part of the problem is if everyone's looking at MPOX stocks out there, and they think like Fubo might move. Like I think Fubo's already doing pretty good volume. It's almost as if there's only so much attention for runners, and if you're not in the cohort that the eyes are on a given day, then what are the chances that you're going to go? Now, obviously, I can look at this chart and say, hey, we like support and resistance, we like breakouts. So, of course, MSOS and this short interest and all that good stuff breaks out through here. Like, it's about 820 or so. That looks gorgeous on the chart, but that's only half the story. A, it has to get there. B, it has to have the volume to break it out. And then C, it has to have the interest for there to be a continuation on the play. So I don't know if we have that, particularly with MSOS. You can see on like the last week was actually a very, very quiet week in terms of the type of trade that it was doing. So it could be gearing up for something more exciting. I would put this more on the have alerts for volume spikes. If it breaks out over $8, maybe an alert if it gets close to that 820 level on that daily, and then you've got a chance to go. But when you're looking at a morning where, okay, I see over 5 million shares on GovX already, which is absolutely, up 50%, and that's just one of these MPOX high flyers. It's going to be difficult for any cannabis stock or the sector in general to put a dent today, because this is where the volume is early. So you just got to be after the volume. I know a lot of people in the chat that are looking at them, that are looking at small cap runners. This is where the eyeballs are. They're on this. They're on it's like APDN and then a couple of others out there. So nothing against MSOS. You can always set an alert in case it breaks out or something new happens. But these are the ones you probably want to look at today for active trading on smaller caps.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you have the same kind of a breakout possibility on MSOS that we were just talking about with Fubo that already happened. So it actually looks very, very similar, to be honest with you, up here, like around this 8.25 area, because you bounced off of here from back. I mean, it only goes back to May, so it's not, it's pretty fresh. Some of these lows. You're underneath this $8 mark, which is the 200 period. So that's something that we definitely need to get above. We talked about stocks breaking through 50-period moving averages, and that could be a trend change. So like right into here, we're hovering, makes a move down, then blasts through it. We're not really blasting through it here, but it's a nice 2 days. And if we can get through 8 and take that, then the next stop obviously is going to be 10, and then we'll see about higher than that. I mean, we made similar calls on stocks like Robinhood earlier when this was down at 13, 14, and we were talking about a breakout of this one, and I said the next stop was going to be in and around that $20 mark. So sorry, 16, 17, when we bounced off of here right into there, we made a move up, came back in. Now you're starting to go back up again here on a stock like Robinhood that now has 6, 7, 8 days now in a row to the upside. So I just look at, that MSOS, and I think that if you want to trade any of the individual names, fine. You're going to get more movement on that. Oops, MSOS. There's different ETFs. OX going to be a little triple, I think double or triple. But right there, it's the $8, 8.20 break that I think we wait for. So let's see, like Sharif was mentioning there, let's wait to see if there's any volume that comes in, and if and when it does. I think you can look over here at the ETF. I know our guest, Mr. Michael Noss, may want to comment on something like that as well, because I think there is a possible breakout here on the marijuana stocks. So we'll see. Could be in play today. Sharif and Adair, good look on those ones.
All right, we have everybody's favorite chartered market technician ready to join us from Maritime, from the Eastern Canada. Shout out to Michael Noss. If we can bring in Mr. Noss. There he is. All right, good to see him, Mr. Noss. So I got to tell you, I know we're going to talk a little China. We're going to talk a little FXI, a little Alibaba. I saw your buddy JC Peretz on Thursday as he was in Toronto. I asked him about India. And he's kept telling me everybody trying to do this inverse China-India trade, trying to take these Chinese ADRs long and flip short on India. And it hasn't been working out. I thought I'd mention that to you, obviously, because we're going to talk a little China today. Good morning.
Yeah, I watched JC on the show. I'm glad to have him on here. I consider him a personal mentor of mine. It was funny. I didn't even know he was going to be on, but he made some tweet about how he was in Toronto at Tim Hortons, and I just messaged him. I said, hey, you should go on Trader TV. I know the guys. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm on my way there now. So it was super cool.
All right, so we're talking a little FXI today, Michael. I see the first chart over here. We've got a little bit of support coming up from an anchored VWAP, it looks like. What's the look?
Yeah, so I talked about this a little bit with Neil, and I think a little bit with Sean, too, in the After Hours show. But when the collapse happened, the reverse carry trade, all of that craziness, this is a weekly chart. So 2 weeks ago on Mondays when all this occurred, you notice that the reaction to FXI wasn't that bad, right? We had a big push down in equities in the US. It just looked horrible. Now we're almost back to all-time highs, but I talked about how I'm going to play this choppiness if it's occurred. I, gave some ideas for buying dips. I gave some ideas for selling rips. And now I think it's good to go back to our old school relative strength as well as a way to play a potentially kind of a choppy market. So FXI, again, nice orderly pullback over a number of weeks, had that dramatic down day that, again, the whole world, we were worried about the market lock limit down in the US. FXI didn't move down very much. So it held that anchored VWAP really, really well. And then last week, just kind of like everything else, we had a pretty dramatic bounce and a test of that downtrend line. So we're holding right below that as well. So FXI, again, for those who don't know, is the large cap China index. So think of the S&P 500 for that as well. So that's what got me thinking. But really, when it comes down to it, I like to play individual names. So I'm going to focus on what the largest component is of that, which is BABA. And BABA, from a long-term point of view, is starting to look really good here, right? I talked about how I'd never catch a falling knife, but when something puts in this kind of low base, this rounded bottom, the smiley face, whatever you want to call it, I want to start to notice. Now, the late, great Charlie Munger was a a buyer here before he passed. I think this was the last trade he ever put on. So if him and Warren Buffett like it, it's at that level of support and it's putting in this rounded base. I want to take a look. So we see another downtrend line right here. I think that's an easy play if you just want to play on the weekly chart, is if we kind of break and close above that downtrend line, that's a good way to go. And then your stop is obviously just below these recent lows right here. But for me, I want to zoom in a little closer, see if I can get a little bit fancier on the entry. So we have the daily chart here. I drew an anchored VWAP from that prior swing high, also where I have this trend line as well. And we gapped after earnings over that. And I like that because when Baba reports earnings, again, it's one of the largest, if not the largest companies in China. I want to make sure that the people who actually read those reports, which is not me, like what they read in them. So I don't really know anything about it, but I know that, hey, it held, it didn't sell off on earnings, and then it gapped up after earnings, possibly after people took a couple days to read the report. So we're above another downtrend line, and we're above a pretty important zone. So, you know, I'm kind of looking at this $80, give or take a share, and saying, hey, if we can hold above $80, that's where I'm interested in potentially getting long Baba. If we sell and we close below that anchored VWAP that I drew, which is sitting around 77, 78, that's where I'm going to get out. Now, lastly here, we're on the 30-minute chart. We're on, and this is where I really look. If you're really trying to fine tune your entry, I zoom out on a 30-minute chart. I just kind of draw your very generic support and resistance lines here. And you can see, you know, 82, 83 bucks, that's where that blue line is. There's a big level there. So if we pull down to this level, that's where I'm going to look on the 30-minute chart to see if we get some bullish candlesticks. If we look like we're holding that zone, that's where I'm going to get involved. On the upside, which right now it looks like we may be doing as well, I just think yesterday's high, you can see it was a very clearly defined high on Friday where we got up to that, and then we spent the afternoon selling off that zone, showing that, you know, 84, 85 bucks, there is potentially a seller there. So those are my two scenarios. If we can get down to that 80 and we can hold that, it might be a good support buy. If we just blast through that prior high and hold above that, then I think that's kind of your more momentum trade on Alibaba as just a way to play China.
I got to ask him, Michael, because on these ADR charts, we constantly see gaps because of it's being traded, I'm assuming, at 4 a.m. by the Asian markets. And there's always pre-market price action that doesn't always seem to find its way on some of these North American stocks. Does that influence your charting at all? Or do you have to account for that in any way? Or what's the look?
That's one of the reasons that I like, and that FXI, I think, is a perfect example, that weekly chart. It's one of the reasons I like the weekly chart is because you don't get as much of that gappy action. The other thing that I think is important is how liquid, that chart right there. You can see there's, even though it's all China-based, there's not that much gap because you're zooming out. I think this becomes more of a problem when you're running things like gap scanners intraday and for daily charts. But I think if you zoom out, it's not too bad. It can be problematic if you're trading more shorter term charts when it comes to ADRs, not shorter term, smaller companies that don't trade as much. Now that the pre-market opens up so early and then we trade to so late on the post-market, that has diminished a little bit. That's why you notice on my 30-minute chart there, I leave pre-market on and off. This chart here. So the pre-market and post-market are both on to show me what's happening because, yes, with this chart, pre-market action and post-market action, I think, is a little bit more important. Now, one caveat that I always give when I talk about China, I forgot to do this time, is it is China, right? They can kind of do whatever they want. I remember if people were trading around for, what was it, Didi or something? It was like this Uber of China that they listed, and then 4 days later, they said they hated the company and they wanted to tank it. And even the CEO of Alibaba went missing for a while there. So just, trade, it's a good looking trade. It's a massive company. So I don't think it's going to be that risky, but just know you're dealing with China. So you have to be a little bit more cognizant. So maybe size down a little bit.
All right. Michael Moss, everybody, Chartered Market Technician. Thank you very much, Michael. We'll see you on Friday.
All right. See you. See you tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's right. On the Market Recap Show. Catch that with Aaron and Sean.
All right. Have a good one.
Absolutely right. Make sure you check out Michael. Every Monday we get him morning, we get him afternoon. Hey man, I like Alibaba too. I put it on my note this morning, and we liked it last week. post-earnings continuation plays. This has been a theme for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've had on at least, I want to say almost every single day. It was true when we had Obi on. It was true last week. But a lot of the names that have recently reported and then started breakouts and uptrends have been really fantastic continuations. And I'm not talking about just the day after. Like we can say, here, I'll get to Bob in a second, but you can go look at something like Palantir, which is a multiple day runner. Nike was, that was a continuation from, it wasn't necessarily news, but it was a sympathy to the Starbucks play where you get like a news event and then continuation. So Alibaba, maybe it gets to that $80 level today. I think if you go all the way back to where it closed the day of the earnings, yeah, that's going to be a level for me too. I would venture to say where it broke out that 81.5, 82 area that we were trading on Friday, I think that's also a level for a pullback. But if it's a trend continuation, I also want to look at the current previous close here, 83 level, and then a potential breakout of the high. I'm just looking for all of those continuation type ideas. Depending on how you draw it, you drew the trend lines a little bit differently. But if you were to draw it from the double top just in the beginning of last year, it actually has a chance to break out this longer trend line if it were to get through 84 here today. So I like Alibaba for continuation. Almost every single time Baba is of note, at least for myself, the first look is, hey, sometimes when it's gapping a little bit, you want to play the dip. And if it breaks out the first support level, previous close in 83, you got to start getting really patient. When the Chinese ADRs dip at the open, they tend to dip rather heavily. So if it doesn't hold the 83 level, you've got to be willing to wait for a curl, wait for higher lows, wait for it to level off, all that good stuff. But I like Alibaba as well for the day trade. It was a good one on Friday. It's been fantastic in the past. And you know what? I can't remember the last time Baba had that program buying nonsense where it was just like going absolutely ham. Who's to say that can start happening again?
Yeah, exactly, my thoughts, and we did it on Friday. There's the dip buy for Alibaba. We actually waited for it to settle down. It started off early at $82. We'd written down $82 right here on Friday. So it's on the sticky note. There's the dip down in for Alibaba, comes the VWAP there. We written down 81. We want the VWAP at 82. 82 comes into play right there. Pretty clean, pretty simple play. We go long there, and there's 83.50 out. So it was about $1.20, $1.25 or so right there, clean out. And look what that's in, 9.30 in, out 10.30. So just wait for it. It started to really start to go. I was nervous that we could have retraced back a little bit. Friday was, again, it was a monster week. So no surprise in what the futures did last week, and no surprise there again for BABA. So yeah, I'm liking that stock. It's still on the weed stocks here as we wait to see if anything's happening here with $8. And then what goes up must continue to go up as well, and that's Nvidia today right here. Although the market's trying to pull back, Nvidia and the market both pretty flat right now. I still really like the long here today. Let's see if we can find some levels. But we'll be talking about this as we go through our watch list. So thanks to Michael Noss for a couple good ideas there. He'll be back with me tonight on the recap show.
Lots of interesting names on this list today, especially on the downgrade side of things. To kick off, though, we have Burlington getting an upgrade from Gordon Haskett, Goldman Sachs upgrading Lineage, JP Morgan Chase giving OneStream an upgrade, and Rubrik here actually up about 3% after this upgrade from Piper Sandler. Rubrik did IPO earlier this year. They're backed by Microsoft, so interesting look there for this one. In terms of the downgrades, kicking off with Nvidia getting a note here from Goldman Sachs. They're still up on the day. Price target here of $1 to $135. Dutch Bros has been on watch as of late. They're getting a downgrade here from Piper Sandler, down about 2% right now. HPQ also down just over 2% with this downgrade from Morgan Stanley. Worth noting, HPQ and Nvidia both scheduled to report earnings after the bell on August 28th, so that'll certainly be a day to watch out for. Last but not least, Piper Sandler downgrading Shake Shack, guys.
Oh, not Shake Shack. Come on, that's not cool. No, and obviously, well, that upgrade-downgrade list, unless you're really, really into Dutch Bros, I'm going to suspect NVIDIA is the most interesting name out there for you. Although, we were talking with Ryan Faluna about Dutch Bros on Friday. That's a name that he was interested in. It's got a bit of a short float, had a breakout level. Don't know if it gets there today with the downgrade. But while, let me just give one quick look to AMD, because while Nvidia has been holding out these highs, AMD pulled all the way back into the 140s, 149 in here, pretty much tagged Friday's close. So that ZT deal that they're making, looks like they said it'll add about 150 million or something in like additive, like I don't know, cost for employees. And we'll see how that shakes out in the long term. Obviously, they think there's going to be a synergy there. It's a cash and stock deal, like 75% are going to be cash. Then there's a little bit of dilution in that deal. But it was flying high, and AMD right back into previous close. Not budging whatsoever was Nvidia, and we'll certainly be talking about them in this 125 level to be sure. Sometimes upgrades and downgrades, maybe you got like a ridiculously high price target and you want to hedge your bets or something like that for Goldman Sachs going into earnings. Who really knows? But the 125 level stands out like an absolute sore thumb. Couple of wicks above it. With some deep prints this morning, but that Friday high looks primed.
I like Dutch Bros here on the downgrade though, but I like it as a long. Just noticing that you're down 2%. I just think the company, again, I don't know if it's going to be the right space or not, but one that's been really hit down and try to get back going. And now you're going to get a little bit of opportunity here today to get it at a 2% discount. So I think Dutch Bros is pretty okay as long as we don't break below 30, which right now we're at 31.88. So don't worry about what this says right there. That's not, that's just an order that's in the book right now. So 31.88. So you're still dipping down, and there's not much volume here yet. 77,000 shares is probably pretty good, but it's probably all just one trade. There it is right there. The D print went off at 32.64 for 34,000. But yeah, I think as long as we stay above $30, I like Dutch Bros right here. And we kind of went over the Starbucks trade. I think as long as Starbucks is above that 92 area, I think it's good. But I feel like this one is getting exhausted again as we kind of just flagpole, you're going to be forming some kind of a flag here very, very soon, if not a small one as we speak. But, right now, Starbucks feels like it wants to break lower to me, but I don't know. We're at this level that we've kind of bounced off of. So until we really can break through 97, 98, maybe on some more upgrades, I'm feeling like Starbucks is a short in and around 95. And we're going to open up there too. So, this could be something to look for an early short. What's the market doing? The market's going to be red in a minute. So, yeah, maybe we need to figure this out because I have Google long, Roblox long, Nvidia long, Palantir long, Fubo long, all on today's sticky note that you can go find right here at Trader TV. Sean with a couple ideas listed on here right now as well. So go have a quick look there and figure out what's going on with some of these plays right now. There's Brendan. Here we go. There's Brendan right there. Hit a little. No, here we go. Missed it. Oh, I don't have my stream deck open. Oh no, I wanted to hit the dada.
Oh, I don't have that. I've got that one.
And then there he is right there. So he's chilling out, and he'll be having a great time this week, and we'll be missing him. But we've got
we're locked and loaded.
Yeah, Shreve and Adair at the desk. So all right, let's go through. We've got to get to our watch list. I'm assuming at some point here.
Yes, sir. Let's do the future to start here, Sean. 55.78 is where we closed out on Friday. That was the high there. 55.93 is the overnight high, just a smidge below that 5,600 area of support. The last time we were there was the end of July. We did reject there, so let's see if we can reclaim 5,600. Until we do, it's resistance. Overnight low, 55.65. Let's use that as support. All right, guys, make sure to get the watch list every day. It's prepared by Adair, and I know I personally use it to organize my day, see what's moving, and prepare that watch list to know exactly what is on tap for the day. So if you don't already have a subscription to the best watch list out there, make sure to check that out. Trader TV Live watch list. Get it in your inbox every morning. Let's start with the first one here, Adair. AMD, big news coming out overnight. An acquisition of ZT Systems for $4.9 billion. Supposed to give them an edge in the server business. What's a look?
Yeah, we actually also, too, in addition to this acquisition, again, valued about $4.9 billion, we did also have some comments from CEO Lisa Su of AMD saying that this acquisition will be, the next major step in their AI strategy. We know they acquired Silo AI earlier this summer, so lots of acquisitions for AMD. Worth noting as well, I mentioned this earlier, but we did have that press conference regarding this acquisition starting at 8:30 a.m. We didn't really get many major updates from this, so the company did say that they're expecting, quote, minimal dilution in their first year following the acquisition because they do see that revenue from the service support and the GPU sales is going to offset the impact. So not a bad financial outlook from this acquisition for AMD.
What's the look, guys?
Yeah, you know, it was certainly screaming toward some big levels that I was actually thinking fade on, but that's no longer the case. So is what it is. The 50 and the 200 period, we're sitting right here at previous resistance levels, like 50 period at 155, which is this resistance here. And then you also had this resistance at 157. That's the 200 period on the daily. And then what happened is this thing fell $3. So it looked like we were going to immediately test that off of the open. And obviously, you got to be able to change your plans. We'll see what happens when the imbalances come out. Like maybe there's a little bit of action that gets it back into the upside. So I don't know if we're going to see 155 today. That seems a little bit unlikely to me, especially with the initial reaction to this deal. But we'll see what happens. I don't know if we're going to get a chance to fade those levels. If I'm pulling it, just zooming things out a little bit more, never thought that 145 was remotely in play. Didn't even bother writing that number down because we were up at 152. But now that we are here, I like a 145 for a bounce. That's just as close as the levels I like to short. So actually, it's closer to that 145 than the levels I like to short. And this is why you kind of always zoom out on the charts. You never know what's going to happen in that hour while you're preparing. So we could easily pull right back into a key 145 level for a bounce. I thought I'd be fading 155 and 157, but I just have to change the plans on AMD specifically.
Yeah, I think you can be a little bit weary because of the news, but if you're just going to look at technical analysis here, I think it's pretty simple. You've fallen right back into the close on Friday. You know, you really like these names. Until Nvidia really comes out with either horrendous news and potentially guide in line or lower, then you're going to see very, very healthy, I feel like, chip market until we get the Nvidia number next Wednesday. So I still like the longs, man. I mean, this got going there early, and there wasn't much happening Friday afternoon, so I don't really consider this sort of dip down that eventful. But if you think about that and you take away that dip, you're really looking at this 149 area, which is kind of where we're bouncing right now. So I really like the long up here. I don't want, like I was saying, I don't really want to fade anything. I think taking a 150, the only hits we took last week were on breakouts early. So I don't think we want to take a 152.50 break. It's too far down. Maybe if we were hovering around here, different story. But for right now, I've always been pretty red on AMD, like not red, but thinking red on it, like short. Now, I still would like to see this above 160, but it's trying to get to that 150 marker. It's been there. It's come back in. I still like the stock, but I'd rather trade Nvidia at the end of the day. But, you know, I think that since this one's going to be on talk today, you know, 149 is definitely a buy area. So is 148. So these little dip-ins, as if you're not scared of that news and what that might mean for the company, which I don't know enough about it, it's definitely up more than the market here. So I like the stock. And as we said, man, buy winning names. And right now, AMD is winning. It's up. The market's up. This is a long. So just a matter of, will it dip down off open and be able to get you that 149 or 148? So which level are you going to wait for? I think better to get some at 149 than maybe more at 148. So for right now, we'll watch out for AMD here on watch. We won't really get to Nvidia, but of course, Nvidia is on the sticky note. It's been P&L number one for this show pretty much every day last week. For the floor as well, it was a big week, obviously. As Nvidia just regains basically its leadership again, you can see it did have a huge move down. Despite 2 Mondays ago, it still was hovering around this 100, 105 area. A lot of us could have got along there. Luckily, we were able to get something. And now you're coming up looking to break through here, 126. Like, it's going to happen today, right? So you just got to sort of play some of these dips. Try not to get caught with your hands in the cookie jar too much. But I've already written it down on here, 124, 125. I like the 125 long. We're just underneath that right now. So if you want to take this, still 20 minutes, but I think you're going to like a 125 long at one point today. And then if we're lucky enough to get something at 124, then, I mean, that is, you know, you're here to make money. So I think that's an opportunity to make some money.
Bitcoin down about 1.5%, a bit more actually, 1.8% to start the day here. No specific reason, but there is the Japanese yen strengthening again. And we saw exactly what happened last time when the Japanese yen strengthened. Bitcoin dropped from about 70,000 to about 50,000. So concerns here, Adara, amongst investors that the Japanese yen could continue the removal of this carry trade and money could come out of more speculative assets.
This carry trade, really interesting to see that it's not just impacting the DXY, but also, or the USD, but also things like Bitcoin as well. So keep an eye on this. I had been reading from some analysts saying that this is likely to get worse as we get interest rate cuts. So certainly beware of this trade. Also worth noting in the crypto space, BTBT, Bit Digital, a crypto miner, they report tonight, guys. So definitely be aware of that if you're looking at some of these smaller miner names.
All right, guys, what's the look?
Sean, like 58.8 has been it's turning into a bit of a level here for BTC, Bitcoin in particular. It's been resistance, it's been support, and if it breaks it out today, and again, that's always gonna be an if. I mean, I'm looking at coin instead of Mara for the first time in a bit. But yeah, I mean, Coinbase just looks a little bit better than Mara as an equity to trade. You still haven't taken out that pre-Manic Monday, I guess, close level. 205 level got wicked on Friday, got to about like 206. I think if it clears it out and takes out 206, especially if we're through that 58.8, then Coinbase has a lot of room to run. Like all you're seeing is wipe out bottom, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, right into this wedge being formed up at the top. That's setting it up for a bit of a breakout here in Coinbase. Couldn't do it on Friday with any juice, but it held on to the 200 level. As long as it's holding on to 200, you're set to finally, at some point, break out this top and fill in the gap. But so many things have recovered past that pre-dump close on that Friday. That was the Friday the 2nd. And Coinbase is still trying to break away from it. So if we break 15.88 or 58.8, I should say, then coin through 206 looks pretty darn good.
So in a trade that we talked about, not only for long-term portfolio, but also for day trading here would be Mara. We talked about that down here at $15. I mean, again, it looks like you're sort of made this loop again. We've already like once down to 15, up to 33, again, down to 15. I mean, you had to wait longer this time, up to 27 again, down to 15 again, up to 16. So it's not too late here, I don't think anyways, to get on the Mara train. The only problem that I have, it's nothing to do with Mara, I don't think specifically. It has to do with this guy down here. Bitcoin is still at 58.5. Why did it not hold 60 there? That's a little bit of a problem. It was over 60 this weekend. Should have probably held that. Didn't. A little nervous about what happens here with Bitcoin. We can have a quick look at IBIT. I'm almost thinking red on it. I don't really want to go short Bitcoin until the NASDAQ really starts to tumble down again, which, I don't know, it had such a monster week, could retrace a little bit, right? And if the NASDAQ does revert to the mean a little bit, which who knows what that is, definitely the mean's not 5% a week. So right into here, 33.5 potential short, which could happen early for Bitcoin. You could go back to where we closed on Friday up here at 33.50, 33.80. 33.50 is already the level that we like. 33.80 for a close there. But I'd rather be short, I feel like, than long now. We're underneath the 50-period moving average. We're trying to base out a little bit of a break lower. And I don't think we test $40,000 again or anything like that anytime soon. But, you know, a little bit of a break here and a non-hold like we did last time could start the tumbling down. Because remember, I mean, you need people to come in and buy this. So where are the buy levels? We've seen 54 been bought up. We did see it get to that 50 level. If it doesn't hold the next time, then I'm a little bit nervous. But we're still ways away from that one. You know, you give this name 5%, you're down to that 54 again, and then you're starting to think about what positioning means. So we'll wait to see that. But for now, I want to be short Bitcoin. I feel like as a day trade, let's see if that pans out.
Estee Lauder reported this morning they beat on the top and bottom line with respect to this month's or this quarter's earnings, but they issued a lower than expected forecast for the next earnings date. They anticipate about a 1 to 2% decline in sales, and EPS, the projected EPS missed significantly from what analysts were looking for. 275 is what they're forecasting. 397 was what the street was looking for. Adara, good look for them up here, about 2 2/3 recovering from being red in the morning, but they're still down about 33.5% year to date.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough look in terms of outlook. There was weaker than expected fiscal year 2025 EPS outlook, and also for Q1 2025 as well. So they just reported for Q4 2024. Q1 2025 here, EPS outlook 2 cents to 10 cents. Analysts were looking for 66 cents per share. And they're seeing a drop of 3 to 5% in terms of organic and reported net sales. Also worth noting, CEO Fabrizio Freda also announcing retirement as of the end of fiscal 2025, though apparently they're already looking for his replacement. So that could be interesting to watch out for as well. He's been with the company for 15 years.
What's the trade, guys?
Not balance anymore. No, like this morning, like there was actually a point this morning where this was down in the mid 80s. Before getting this bounce, kind of double bottom down here in the mid 80s after closing at $95. So, it certainly had the look like a stock that was going to give you hey, it could be down 10% on a guidance miss, and then you could look for some kind of rebound long. Well, forget about that now. So not even in the trading plans. Maybe there's a continuation later in the week through like a 102.5. I think it's getting up into a chop zone around $100, but great for Estee Lauder. I mean, they missed on the guidance. The stock was down $9 and looking like it was going to be double digits to the downside. It's pretty much back to where it closed. So I think you just got to play this one by ear. I'd let it settle down off the open. As I said, the one trade that I would have looked for on a stock like this would have been if it was down the 10 points and tried to bounce off the open. Clearly, it's not going to be down double digits anytime soon.
No, I've already talked about the ones I'd like to trade instead of this. Of course, there will be no trading on any of these today, but Ulta Beauty right here, 380. We had some extremely old man with a lot of cash step in and apparently buy some Ulta Beauty. Whether or not he sold it now or not, who knows if he used our liquidity to get out or he's actually holding on to this. We'll find out the next filing. But right, excuse me, as big brand names continue to get stronger, Ulta Beauty, I feel like, is a good example of that. When we talk about Nike and Starbucks, and some of the resurgence over there. We also have Elf Cosmetics, which must be a New York stock, so we'll call that up in a minute. That name's been battling back as well, but the chart will be loading soon. So a couple good days there for Elf. They miss on their earnings report, fall all the way back into this level, 140, 145. So, not knowing enough about it, I know Sephora is really kicking. My daughter got a Sephora gift card for her birthday. She loves that place. It's great. 145. I like Elf. I like Ulta Beauty, and I like Estee Lauder. So there's strength underneath some of the hood as well, other than NASDAQ names, and I think Elf could be one of those. Follow the lead there. Ulta Beauty recently bought by Berkshire.
MPOX in focus again today, and there's multiple small cap gappers here moving as a result. So I can tell you that the WHO declared it a global public health emergency on the weekend. There are 2 strains we need to concern ourselves with here, Clad 1 and Clad 2, Clad 1 being the more severe. So we've got GovX here, which we had eyes on last week, up about 50% over that $10 area. But there's new entrants here, Adara, APDN and VRAX.
VRAX, yeah, that one's certainly a newer one to talk about today. Virax, not much of a short float there, about 0.8%. Another one worth noting here is EBS Emergent Biosolutions. They moved quite a lot on Friday, 7% short float, and they're actually own one of the 2 vaccines that has been approved or recommended, by the CDC for this MPOX related situation. Also GOVX, of course. GOVX also worth noting. They're actually getting a buy rating maintained here by EF Hutton. So interesting look there.
All right, what's the look here, guys?
I do have water back there. I gotta go get it.
Yeah, I gotta get that hydration going. I was just telling Sean there. So the real question becomes for GovX is I pull down my trusty trade ideas here so I can show you guys what I see as the short float is 50.6%, which is oddly enough pretty much exactly what this stock is up. Now, it doesn't really matter, but 50% short float is a big deal. These are all in play. It's done great volume early on here. Regardless of which one you want to look at, it's just this one's interesting because, I mean, support right at the $10 level, big short float, exactly $10 has held more or less as support, a little bit of a higher low action going through. Feels like an over-under to me. Like if it doesn't hold 10 at the open, it tries to fill the gap into Friday highs, which is about $8.50. I think there you might look for a little bit of a dip. But yeah, holding 10 kind of gives you an obvious area at the open to go around and look for. So GovX, I'm just going to double check. I'm pretty sure, like at Real Trading here, we'd probably have to, we have to pay for locates to be able to get this one. I'm going to go price it. I'm not intending on going short this, but always want to have it in the back pocket. It'll probably be relatively reasonable. But this one in the $10 level is what I'm looking at. I'm going to go check to see what the price of those shorts might be. I'm guessing 1/3 of 1 cent on GovX.
Yeah, I'm guessing
We're going to log in.
1/6 of 1 cent. That's generally what they are. All right, so ALZN here again, ripping up. Thanks to Tisha and everybody in the chat as well here. They had a recently reverse split, or split 1 for 10 there. But you're going to see here, you know, I don't know, this short float probably not right. 0.5 right there, change down 77%. Like I said, they had to have that reverse split the other way. Not much cash, not much EPS, nothing really to go through on this stock except for this. So right now up 264%. I'll get the exact story here from Benzinga. So let me just search this real quick. All you got is ALZN right now. Thank you, Mr. Rob, as we get an early look at an early gray tee. Match your early gray sweater, Rob. Oh, and honey, and
Look at that.
look at this. Wow. Rob must have confused me for somebody else there. I don't know. That's nice service right there. I like that. All right. Thank you, Rob, for that again as we go. But partners with Massachusetts General Hospital for first of its kind phase 2 study. So that's going to be pretty nice there for ALZN. There seems to be a few stories popping through right here as we've talked about it early on, Massachusetts. So I just want to say, you know, this is the Benzinga Pro platform. You can go find that one out and see what's going on. But ALZN right now, nice pop up. Have we been here before? Not really, but we did break through that 4,450 area. I mean, if you fall back into that, that's not going to be nice. But that could be an area where you find some buyers to come back in. I think we just keep going long on this name. Breaking through $8 seems to be what the next level of resistance is going to be. So yeah, $8 with that high at 8. So yeah, I might just take this break of $8, man. Take this break long on ALZN. Why not? Let's see what happens. Well, I mean, why not? There's lots of reasons why not to. But you are getting a bounce off of VWAP. It's held that all morning. So that right now would be 628. So if you think VWAP's going to hold again, play that dip buy into VWAP. If you get excited with only 8 minutes to go, what about an 8 break on ALZN? So something to look at here as a name that seems to be running around.
Big win for Fubo last week against the likes of Disney, ESPN, Fox, Warner Brothers, Discovery. This is all to block a new company called Venue. Essentially what this Venue is going to do is it's going to conglomerate a lot of these sports events into essentially one company, one streaming service. Fubo claimed in a New York court that that would be essentially tantamount to a monopoly. The judge agreed, but it is only a first instance decision. There is still an appeal coming.
Yes, there is an appeal coming. We did have here Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery saying that they're intending to appeal the judge's ruling. They don't actually view it as anti-competitive, saying that it is a pro-competitive option because it does aim to enhance consumer choice by giving people who don't have cable access. So interesting look there. Obviously, two very different opinions. It'll be really interesting to see how this shakes out, especially with Fubo announcing its sports option with Amazon Prime the morning that this judgment came out. So definitely something to watch out for.
Fubo up 15% here, guys. How do we trade this?
Yeah, another short float type of name in here today with Fubo. And, you know, we like stocks, we like short float stocks that tend to break out levels, right? Like, that's what it's all about. Like, you can try to catch a falling knife if you'd like to, and if you're really good at it, then you can join a circus or something. But when things actually break out, they get a little more interesting. And that's exactly what Fubo is trying to do here off these mid-160s. So I want to keep that as simple as possible. It tried to break out on Friday, had a bit of a double top, went for that, it didn't go. So it settled at 150. If it gets to 150, I think that's kind of an obvious zone just because there were buyers all afternoon long at the 150 level. But those highs were the mid 160s, like 165, 166. So if we can hold that off the open, looking for a continuation play here on Fubo. I like them. At the end of the day, whether or not they win the appeal means nothing to how it probably trades in the next day or two, right? Like anybody, unless you know how that's going to go in advance, it doesn't really matter. We're here to trade the price action. To me, if it's holding those previous highs, I think you have a chance at a continuation squeeze because there's plenty of room on that daily chart for it to get to next resistance levels, like at a 220. So if we can get anything tight to that 165, I think that's going to be a solid risk to reward proposition, at least for the next couple of days. And all bets are off if they lose that appeal down the line and the big boys win, because that wouldn't be a good thing for Fubo. But we cross that bridge when you get there. As a day trader, you don't have to worry about that too much.
Putting in this honey in here.
Got to, man. The honey is the key.
Good for
what kind of tea is that?
Earl Grey. I don't think it's very good with honey, but
actually,
good for the throat.
No, I put some honey in my Earl Grey.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, sweetener. I don't know. I don't put sweetener in really too much stuff. All right, so look, we wrote down Fubo here for sure as a take at 160, so I'm already bidding it. So it's on the sticky note. You can go find it at Trader TV, Sean, right now. Go find that sticky note for Fubo. All right, so we're done. What I want to get through quickly was Nvidia is dripping down a little bit here. We just got the release of the imbalances. Let's have a quick look to see what's there. Look at that, Fubo, a nice one there, kind of on par with what we were just talking about. Palantir also with a nice bid, but that is falling back in as well. There's Nvidia getting saved a little bit by a bid because it was starting to go to the downside. NVDA, these are the market on open imbalances. So all of these shares will attempt to get paired off. The NASDAQ ones will all get paired off, and sometimes you'll see some of the NYSE ones hold out until they can find the buyers, and then they'll probably pair them out of their own float. Google with a sell. I liked Google, so I liked Google today on the sticky note as actually a number one trade idea here. The reason why is again, when we wrote this, the market was kind of up 0.3. I still like that Google's held right now to the high side. And I wrote down here quite simply here on the sticky note, and I think this is going to be a good pick, man. And I thought that Google right now 164 to 165, hard to pick a level. We're at 165.50 now. Basically, when support is turning into resistance, then I have to buy the dips in this name. So we said this on Friday that I thought Google, I mean, I could see clearly here that Amazon and Google were the names that, had to go back. And Google's starting to do that now. They did get that DOJ antitrust lawsuit. They're going to be looking into that, breaking up of Chrome and Android and all that stuff. But you know what? I don't think that matters right now to Google. I mean, we talked about a breakup. I think a breakup was a good thing for Google. So right now, we'll see if we can get some dip buys into 164. Look how nice that looks. But we might have to settle for 165 and or a VWAP trade, which is that 164.50. So either way, you're stuck in the middle right now with Google. Let's go over to the desk with Sharif.
Guys, just want to let you know about this. Nikola files for offering 80 million shares in a B1 senior convertible note due in 2025. Coming off that move right now, about 7% down off the release of that news item, guys. It dropped about 9:12 a.m., so it's been about 10 minutes or so. I just want to let you know on the How to Trade Midday Show, we're going to be talking about understanding these moving averages and all the derivative indicators that come off that. So if you're into that kind of thing, check it out with Adair and I on How to Trade at 11.
Thank you very much, Sharif. A couple minutes until we get the open on this Monday. What are we watching? We're going to be looking at those chips. AMD AMD just ticked red there, so very quickly. A little bit of a break at low there. Just ticked red for a brief second on AMD, while Nvidia, as we mentioned, is holding higher. If we're not breaking out the top at 125 on Nvidia, I like the zone from Friday in support. It's about $1 range, 123.5 into 122.5, and then 123 sits in the middle. As long as you go into that zone and don't come out the bottom end, I'm looking for dip buys on NVDA. A lot to watch. I know we mentioned Tesla very briefly there. Tesla not on the watch list, but Tesla does not need to be on a watch list for you to be interested as a day trader. Maybe we get this 220 break. I feel like it's going to take some time to be able to chew up to get to that 220 level. Big move for Tesla on Friday. Kind of obvious, gets to 220 and reverses. But as long as you're above that 50 period on the daily, which sits at about 215. I like its chances to try to make a little bit of a late breakout here on Tesla. Keep an eye on Fubo, as we mentioned. Now AMD is solidly red. If I see 145, I mean, that's the level for me. Just didn't think we'd be getting all the way down here so quickly on AMD. But 145 looking like it could actually come into play today. Big support level on Friday for AMD.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from AMD just for now, but I do, that move down is pretty nice. I mean, Nvidia right now is at our level as well of 124. So trying to get a little bit anxious here with what trade to make off the jump. And we don't need to make any trades, but let's have a quick look. I just don't want to miss this. There's 124 coming in there for Nvidia, Palantir, yeah, 32.
I totally forgot about.
We'll wait for Palantir. We have Palantir written down at 32. If that comes in, we'll try to play some of that as well. All right, with only 20 seconds left to go, we will wait to see what this NASDAQ and the market brings us today. Intel also trying to get to 21 bucks. That should be interesting. Coinbase, SMH, and the rest of them. Uber, yeah, Uber is a good look there on the chat as well. All right, we're going to watch Nvidia early here as well as Google.
Bring it.
All right, here we go. Google downside a little bit, 165 and 20. Nvidia down to 124 and change as well. We'll let these things settle down. We just got long on something. What was it? Palantir dips all the way to 32.10s right there. So we're long early on Palantir. All right. I mean, that fell in real quick. So let's see what happens now. PLTR down to $32, a level that I think we like here. So we'll see.
Yeah, Palantir, I'd actually almost forgotten to write that one down there, so I just saw that 33 level out there, and now that almost doesn't even matter. Immediately off the open, not much happening with regards to Nvidia in 125. Coin not breaking out the top just yet, but I just looked over. Fubo is not dipping. Fubo's going for the top here. So Fubo is actually breaking out the highs. Was looking for that dip into the 160s, but it looks like it might try to take out this top, and we have to join it a little bit higher. Tesla's flying toward that 220 level as we speak. So that could come into play early. I'm still on the bid of Fubo. It's just a matter of whether we can catch it, as Tesla ripping toward 220 at this point.
Oh, yeah. Damn it, man. Tesla's always
strong, Tesla.
All right, so we're long Palantir. We sort of talked a little bit about that one. I was just waiting for 20... I have 27s on here. Okay, I have 27s. I was like, why am I not filled? I thought I was waiting at 25s. And there it is, man. It's going to be another big one here, hopefully, for us on PLTRs. Again, the first sticky note trade hits, and it's hitting pretty good right now. And we have, by the way, let's go another one. I don't know how high we're going to go on Google, but this is 2 for 2 on the sticky notes today, and they're monsters right now. This might be good enough for us right now. Hey, is it a beach day? I mean, I went golfing there yesterday. Could be going golfing right now today, and it's only 9:32. 2 for 2 to start with. Let's see what happens. We're long on Google. Google's okay. We were just long 25, 28s there. Just got some out in the 50s. It's trying to pull back a little bit as well. But Palantir off to the races. That was a good little look there. Again, on our sticky note down here at $32. So that's exactly where we're long. Let's see if it can work out. So far, so good here. Clover is up again. Okay, we'll look at Clover. Nvidia making that dip down. We're not ready to pounce yet on NVDA.
Nvidia is getting close, but no cigar just yet. We'll look at Clover maybe a little bit later on. Was not going to be part of the plan of action. Fubo, like we said, Fubo didn't end up dipping. It breaks out the top instead of dipping back into those 160s. So on the way to $2, we'll look to see if we can play it into the $2 level. We've said this before, but breakouts are great. I prefer on an even dollar break that's not a key level to be long into it. 2 is just a round number. There's no significant resistance at that level. So I'm long the breakout here on Fubo. If it gets back under 177, we get out. That other MPOX stock, $10 on GovX, broke. So if it's not going to hold $10, I'm not interested. We'd like to see that one try to come back in. So that one's going to be on the back burner. Just Fubo for me. Nvidia doesn't quite get to that 123 half zone. If it double dips in front of it, then we'll go for the long off of there, as now the market's starting to catch a bid.
All right, here we go, guys. Big trade alert again on Nvidia. We say this every day, man. I mean, it's Nvidia, and it's a good one more time. Nice long there for Nvidia, guys. We're long at 124. As it was written, I mean, you know, we write these levels down for a reason. We have to take them when we see them. So there goes Nvidia. Nice upside move. We're only out of a little bit as it does rip back up there into 124.50. So good out, good in, good out. Let's see if we can make a better one. 120. Let's go again at 124.50 if we can. I mean, we're putting up numbers now that are daily numbers. So let's just wait to see what one's bigger. We're up now bigger on average than we normally are right now, as we're going to go 3 for 3 to start the day. 50 cents on Nvidia, 50 cents on Google, and Palantir just fell back in. We're out of half of Palantir, but this one is a weaker name here today for sure. So far, so good if you're trading some of these names, as we've been really hitting them long side there today. So 3 for 3 to start, but Palantir, I might take a little piece out at 19s if we can get that again. Nvidia really working, Google falling back into 165. But we're starting to get lighter and lighter. Nvidia, we actually got that 124.50 again. So, hey man, if this, okay, here we go, Scott got out again. If this keeps on going, then we're doing pretty good now. Little small reload there on Google.
Yeah, Google looking pretty solid, and Nvidia looks like it wants to go Tesla no break. I've jinxed a million breakouts in a row. Tesla 219.60, it's absolutely tanking. Waiting for 214 on a dip. We thought we'd see a breakout early. Still just Fubo. It's working toward that $5 or $2 level. Just got up to like 196 there. I'll take one more out in front of $2. Look for a $2 break. Look for the next available dip. As we're going to go to Adara, wow, Coinbase. Coinbase broke out that top. We'll see if we can catch it on the way back in. That 206 has now come and gone. Coin looking pretty good. I don't know if we can catch something in Mara, but I don't want to chase Coinbase $1.50 higher than where we wanted it. Mara blowing through the tops as well. Adara?
We've got a few names running around this morning with decent short floats and smaller market caps. One of them as well is going to be Clover Health Investment, CLOV. This one has run in the past, currently near high of days, up about 20%. No news on this one. Not a lot of social media attention either. A few tweets every few minutes, but we do also have a float of about a short float 6.5% to be aware if you're for CLOV, moving about 30 pennies in this 1 3-minute candle. We also would like to take the time here to thank our sponsors at Moomoo. Looking to maximize your idle cash? Earn 8.1% on idle funds for up to 3 months. Plus, U.S. users can take advantage of up to 15 free stocks and $300 in cash rewards. Hey, Canada, you're not left out. Enjoy 6% on cash balances, along with a 2-month commission rebate. Sign up with Moomoo and trade global markets with just one account. Gain access to an extensive range of data on stocks, options, and ETFs, complemented by over 100 charting tools and indicators. Price forecasting, weekly rating reports, and instant alerts, all designed to elevate your trading game. For more details and the full terms and conditions, scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Thanks to Moomoo for sponsoring this part of the show.
Thank you, Adara. We've been super busy since that little ad. Thank you, Adara. We did get ALZN. It did break above 8, and I was like, what? We did have that order in there. It went for us pretty good, man. I didn't even really notice it. It went to 850, so that was a good move. I did take some out now as it comes back into the 75 area, but we are long right now at 805 here on ALZN. So just a little bit of a report there. And then, you know, new position alert. We've been talking about the reloaded. No, this is not a reloaded situation, but okay, we'll use it for now. Roblox down here to 40. So I kind of like that spot. You know, we didn't get to it on the show. There's a drop down in. I thought maybe this breakout here, 39.50 is kind of what I want to hold this to. Let's see if Roblox wants to go. I mean, the market is really dripping in. So, I mean, as far as Roblox and the market is concerned, we're actually up on Roblox right now. Let's just see if it does want to hold. Not too sure. Out, we got some Google. We got more out there on the reload again. So there it is. There's those high ticks at 165.90. There's the reload. There's some outs. Let's see if Google wants to continue to go higher. But it's really this ALZN right now that we're going to have to wait to see what winds up happening. So, all right, we're here on ALZN. Hopefully it breaks through 8. Let's put an order somewhere up here. We took a 25-cent hit on 25%. Let's see what happens now for ALZN, maybe 840, 850.
Yeah, watch out as the market's really starting to screen back into the downside here. Nvidia just went red and down almost a full percent into first support level. I grabbed the 3/4 just out in front of the 80s. Looks like it might not hold on to this 122.30 level on Nvidia. Sorry, 123. I should say. Looks like it's trying to bounce, but the market is now looking heavily red. I've reloaded Fubo, but that's basically at the price that we got at 88s the first time. It's at 88s again. So we just want to respect the current buyback or buy level, the current breakout price on Fubo. If it does not hang on to these 80s, remember it's 165 that we like. So looking to see if we can get some out here above the 124 on Nvidia and then go dip buy hunting once more. SMCI is absolutely tanking. I know a lot of people in the chat have mentioned it, but guess what's catching a bid? It's going to be AMD. If AMD gets through the 150 level, suddenly this looks a little bit more rosy for them. Wanted to have it settle down off the open, but new moment for me was buying Nvidia.
Wow.
We just got filled through 124,
wow.
So we're 1 for 1 on Nvidia over here. Let's look to see what's next. Tesla still settling at that 214 as well.
Nvidia goes easy. PL number 1 again is what we're saying right there. Look at that dip down on Nvidia long at 123.66 right there. Good little level to be long on NVDA. And by the way, also, oh no, we got it again on the dip for Palantir. So sweet. All right, so let's wait to see what happens now. The only one that we're really worried about here is this ALZN. I mean, we did take the long. This is not our style. We were just too busy. Again, it's not as big a position as any of these other names, but ALZN right now, that's going to be the one that falls on its face. But we are really, really happy and proud, obviously, of this Nvidia trade. As there it goes, man. Like I said, this is infinitely. Let's go. What's up, Adara?
Little volume spike here and trying to push into new high of days is Tonix Pharmaceuticals, TNXP. It's actually a penny stock. They did have earnings this morning, missed across the board. Gap losses per share of $19.28 versus estimates of $3.27. So quite the miss, but it is worth noting they're also Mpox related, saying that they're going to be advancing the development of their Mpox vaccine, quote, with urgency as of Friday afternoon. So a couple of catalysts to be aware of for TNXP, guys.
I was, you know,
all over.
The more I think about this, is like we come in every day and we make bold statements, but it's one thing to make a statement and then back it up again with it over and over and over again, like every day. And the thing is that's what we do here. You know, that's what I'm doing with Nvidia. I'm talking about this as if, honestly, like this stock is our you know what, because every single day it's like we're putting up these numbers and we're telling the stock we're going to have our best day on you today. And then boom, that's what shows up. And it's literally happening right now for us again and again and again and again, as right there now it's $1.50 in the money on Nvidia, again, on our best play. And there it goes straight up there to the upside. Neil, it's not hard when you buy easy names that dip right in, especially when it's been a bid on your list for the last 30 days, and you have confidence in the name. It's easy to put up numbers when you're confident. So there it goes. It's Nvidia. It's huge, and there's not really much else to say. We're going to be sitting on one losing stock here, this ALZN, and honestly, if we break through this 680 level, let's just get out of it. We are really on cloud 9 right now with some of our trading, so you know you got to keep going with it. There goes Palantir. Let's see if this name can get back. We are starting to get out a little bit of this, but hey, man, real see real, and I hope you guys see Nvidia. Yeah,
Nvidia pretty clean off the bottom, right to the top, but the next trade could just be a breakout in Nvidia. So yesterday's high, Friday's high is gone. Morning highs were 125.30. So my dip zone was here, here, and here. Only one of them came in, so that's one trade. The next trade's going to be a breakout in Nvidia. I know I've been jinxing breakouts, so I'll pull away from it so that we can take out the top on Nvidia, because if I stare at it, then it's not going to break out that high. Fubo came right back into the breakout price. 185 is VWAP. It dipped off 88s. You're still having sellers in front of the $2 level, so it gets to 95, 96s, and they pull back in. So I'm scalping into $2, and if it breaks $2, that'll be a separate trade on Fubo.
Holy shit. I mean, right now, guys, yeah, we are absolutely, thanks for the coverage there on that, Neil, but we are right now up. I mean, look, we talk about this. You guys want the truth to say what's up to Adam to lose and everything like that. This Nvidia trade is monstrous. So there it goes. Really carrying the day here for us is NVDA, and it's just continuously really cash cowing out right now again. So we actually have something for that. So there it is right there. What a monstrous day here. And again, I'm not getting tired of saying that. you know, if we were showing P&L, you would clearly be able to see this. But hopefully the trades that we're showing you, the proof is in the pudding at the end of the day. There's Nvidia, there's Palantir, two big ones. Let's just wait to see if Google can catch a bid now. It's actually kind of just sleeping, which is making me nervous considering where the futures are. But man, oh man, what a run we've had recently on these names. We still have some losers, man. Like this Roblox trying to go, not going right now, 39.90, catching a bid, trying to catch a bid right there. We're at our highest spot right now, and we still got to deal with this ALZN. So maybe we'll take a piece out because I don't want to lose. And we're not going to lose anything, but I don't want to lose sort of what we've given up a little, or what we've made here on Nvidia and Palantir and now on Google, because we're really starting to make some things work. What a great day it's been here trading. There goes Google. Let's see if that one wants to work out for us. But big day alert on this side, and I think that's what we all want to see. Obviously, when you come into work, you want to have good days, and today is one of those days. So, all right, how's it going over on your side?
Well, Breakout didn't work on Nvidia, so this will be the first time we're red in the morning on Nvidia. But I did play the Breakout, liking it just as much as the deeper dip. So we tried the Breakout over 25, actually misplaced the stop, got right back in. Didn't have to, but that was the plan of action. So I got right back into it. GovX just got back to the $10 level. We'll get back to Nvidia in a quick little second. GovX here breaks 10, goes to 11, trying to hold on to that support level of 10. I got 975 as a higher low support. I said simply, if the stock is, I liked an over-under. Over-under for me means basically, if it's not over that price, I'm not looking for long. If it's under that price, I consider shorts. Shorts actually ended up being 1 cent per share on GovX, so I lost that bet. But if it holds 975 in here, I like it back into the $10 level, but it has to hold this $10 first. I'm just giving it a little bit of extra room. On a stock like this, I would never have an even dollar stop. Long at 10, but I'm not going to put a stop at $9.99. Let's go to Adara.
Here we go.
Yet another small cap name here on watch is going to be Sonder, S-O-N-D. This is a hospitality company announcing a long-term strategic licensing agreement with Marriott, and separately announcing that they've secured roughly $146 million in additional liquidity, which includes a $43 million in convertible preferred equity investment. They also do have a short float of around 8.7%. So S-O-N-D on watch. They have already halted once, guys.
Oh, let's go. Bang, 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 bang. This day, Neil, is just, oh my, right now. Patrick, I mean, I don't even, honestly, Patrick, I'm not even sure what's happening. Look at this ALZN right now. I was like, oh, we're nervous about this. We're long at $8. Now it's at $9.12 and halted to the upside right there. So a monster move up there. We got the right one for sure here with ALZN. You know, we missed the Fubo trade. This is going to break through $2 right there. But wow, do we ever have that Nvidia trade? It was huge, man. That 125 break gets us up to 125.40 and out right now. Palantir is really, like, it might be time to put that damn hat right back on our head, because Palantir is just a destruction of a trade today. Wow, are we up or are we up today? So I'm up more today than any day last week. And it's 9:46 right now, and everything is cracking higher right now. This Google trade, Neil, you want to talk? I know Neil's had some great trades on, but you want to talk some bangers. Look at this. ALZN right now, right? We can keep going. ALZN right now halted. We'll see where the tap is. $1.50 in the money. Google right now, again, 40 cents in the money. Nvidia, $1.50 in the money. Palantir, 40 cents in the money for Palantir. Roblox, flat. I mean, this has been one of them days one more time here for me. So, again, follow the trades. You can see what stocks we're both trading, what kind of days they are. For Fubo is amazing day. But here we go, man. We are really putting up some numbers right here. Yeah, so there goes Fubo. We were waiting at 167. How low did that even go?
No, not even close.
Nowhere even close. So Fubo obviously getting faded, and some of the limelight out of Fubo and here on ALZN. But for right now, man, there it goes. ALZN, let's wait for this. But you know where we're really making the money? All the money, as promised, is here on Nvidia. The number one. Number two, by far, again, will be Palantir. And then we'll wait to see what winds up eventually happening with this ALZN. I mean, that one could really be the runner. But Palantir, we actually, and I said this has been the big change. having confidence and then trading with more shares, right? I know Adara's upping her share size game, and it's really, once you get to that level as a trader, and I'm really happy how fast it's taken. Adara takes many traders 5, 10, 15 years to up their share sizes, but Adara right there, nice move after a couple months. So I definitely like that confidence. So shout out to that one as we go. But for right now, Roblox, we got a little piece out there as it went above 40. So let's wait to see. This is the one that's not really moving for us, RBLX.
Yeah, we're finally back to 220 on Tesla. It looks like it's about to make a break. Breaking 225, 125.50 almost simultaneously might be Nvidia. I'm going to go dip buy hunting on that one. The breakout last time was no good, so we're going to go back into the dip and go for 125. Tesla's a bit of a different story. Like if it tags at 220, I'll take it the first time through. GovX is now starting to go. There was no break on Fubo at $2. It got right to $1.99. Check that. It got right to $2 on the offer, and it's starting to pull back. I've already scalped into this level, so I want to look for another dip into VWAP where we can continue that trade into the upside. But Nvidia is starting to really go past that 125 zone. Looks like we're going to have to catch the next available dip. AMD still looking pretty solid. Obviously getting right back above 150. I like AMD for 155 fade. 155, 157. 50 period on the daily, 200 period on the daily. Resistance at both levels. So if we get to there, that's the only spot I'm looking short on advanced micro devices. Everything else is pretty much a no-fly zone for me. So I think the next thing that should happen here is Tesla breaking $220 after you just liquidity grabbed in the market to the downside. Time for some things to break out tops. That is a huge V-shaped move on Tesla into Friday's high. If you're wondering why 220, it's that simple. So Tesla did this before, only it was a much, much bigger move to the upside going into 220 on Friday than we're like to see here today. Let's see if we get that breakout. Looks like the next available opportunity for me is going to be that GovX. It went like 20, 30 cents in the money, but I'm looking for a little bit more than that. We're giving it down to 75. We're risking 50 pennies on that stock. So I'd like it to go more than 50 cents up, and then we can take some out.
All right. Yeah, you're right about that one, DJK. Never lose buying Nvidia, man. Well, you can. You talked about that breakout, but at the end of the day, guys, I mean, Nvidia is a really super strong stock. And you know what else? Oh boy. Here we go, man. Let's go. 10 out right there on this name as well. Someone's phoning me on my real phone, and this is not a Kathy Wood situation because I've already spoken to Kathy Wood and told her to stop phoning me during market hours. It's really starting to get me upset. We are up absolutely monstrous right there. It is your chicken dinner winner on ALZN. And here we go, Neil. It's $2. It's $3 in the money now on ALZN, man. Fortune favors the bold right there. And there it goes, up to $11 damn dollars. Okay, we are long at 8. Thank you, Patrick. There it is, man. Neil, you like that trade? ALZN now to $11, $3 in the money as we go. We're doing pretty good on this one. Let's see where this one stops. Who knows? But again, we're showing the versatility of trading that we have, right? Big caps, small caps, mini caps, micro caps, news, this or that. It's all over the place. We're on it, man. This has been a big, big day over here, Neil.
Yeah, I love it. Any day that's green is going to be a good one, so congratulations to that. It's always good to be green in the morning. Yeah. And the market, which just turned green as well. The NASDAQ, I looked over, and it ticked red for a split second. The NASDAQ just went to the green side. Just quick little adjustment.
Oh, baby.
Didn't mention we're changing where we're buying the dip on Tesla. We're not going to see 214 again. If we do, then there's blood in the streets. I'm looking for the breakout price. It's now higher lows. I don't care if we break the 220. If I can catch a dip buy, then I'll make 2 trades. Dip into VWAP, break out of the top. But let's go to the Dara and handle some business at the desk.
This part of the show is brought to you by Benzinga Pro. Tired of being late to the trade? Always playing catch up in the market? Missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else, pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving, and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get a free 14-day trial.
Again right now. Oh man. I mean, we talk about real trading. I don't know. This ALZN, man, was on the radar. Thanks to Tisha Perkins, everybody like that. It's now halted at $13. So, you know, we talked about, like, this was not our style. I'm like, oh my God, if I can get out here at 8:30, we got some out at 8:30, then we got some out at 10, then we got some out at 11, and now you're going to get some out at 13. So here we go, man. If this is not exciting for you, then potentially the wrong business. But right now, it is a huge upside move for ALZN. It's a huge move for our good friend Palantir as well, as we keep getting out of all of these names, man. We keep on talking about how good Nvidia has been all day, and it has been great. And then we talk about how great Google's been, and you're wondering, like, where can you find these? We have Google right here, long, Nvidia long, Palantir long, Fubo long. They've all worked like a charm right here, and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we'll go 4 for 5, pending whatever happens here with Roblox. First fill at 40s, next fill at 88s. We're waiting for like a 50 break. We are playing with house money hopefully all week now. So it's been a big one here as we continue to go. Yeah, maybe Max Payne on ALZN. Let's just wait to see. I mean, this is a monster right here, right now. So you can make your whole month trading this name, and we'll see if that can happen here. So ALZN, nice move back up to the upside. There it goes. I hope you guys are enjoying some of the trading here today. It's been fast and furious and absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, fast and furious is how you like those markets no matter what. As long as you're moving, you're going to be good. You mentioned $21 on Intel. Just going to note, it did a topping tail candle. And I liked AMD at certain levels. I'm always going to like a false breakout on Intel. We tried this last time. It did this, and it was a pretty good short, at least in the afternoon, on a false break of 21 even. So if we do that and the market stays red, I want underneath that price. We did get that dip in Nvidia and Fubo. Change of plan. I'm just going to get more out in front of the 199 level. There's a brick wall at $2. It doesn't seem to want to get through that price. So we have a stop order for a breakout above, but I am offering out in front, right at that 98 and 99 zone. So as long as there's sellers out in front of this level, we'll let it break and take a separate trade. I was going to hold some through. I'm just going to get out pretty much all of it, holding on to 10%. And then we'll take the breakout on Fubo TV. GovX is still doing the exact same thing it was before, holding on to the $10 level, looking for it to break out at that 11. The only thing new is if the market wants red, I need something short. And the only idea I had was AMD 155. That was a short trade. Most of everything else was longs. So Intel, if it can lose 21 bucks in VWAP, that'll be my short, potentially. It's only potential. Market's still trying to hold on to green here as we speak.
All right, back to me. We're waiting for ALZN to open back up. We just put an off.
Tap?
We just put I don't know. Tap is 13, but we'll see. So right now we are just in the money, about 50, well, about 40 something percent right now on this trade alone, and it's going to be much higher than that. Hopefully, very very soon, as we'll see it open at 13, and then we'll just see where it goes. We are as my kids say, Dad, literally at the highest spot we've been at all day, and at the highest spot. Basically of all week. I mean, including last week, which was a good week as well, trading these names. Very good week trading these names. We did have some not buyouts. We did have some breakouts last week that didn't work for us. And note today, again, you know, we don't really journal or do anything other than keep whatever we see in our old noggin over here. And I mean, I knew enough that last week the trades that we lost on were actually breakout trades. And other than that, we had a pretty smooth week. So right now, we'll avoid those today and just do what we wanted to do. But this ALZN is going to be great, okay? But honestly, I'm going to be up, well, I don't know where we're going to be on this. But for right now, I'm up double on Nvidia that I am on ALZN. And, you know, we're up about the same on ALZN that we are on Google. And then we're up more on Palantir than we are on ALZN. So just to give you guys an idea, I mean, an ALZN will still be a top P&L name. It's just, you know, we trade the other names with more oomph and more belief and more conviction. But that ALZN right here is halted. We are long right now at $8, as you can see on the board. Here comes a little bit of a pullback. So it does open back up. Now it's starting to push back a little bit. We only have 15% left, okay, of what we initially have. But that 15% left is still enough to be PL1. So let's wait to see what happens right here with ALZN. Let's see how far this wants to go. It just stopped at 13 again. Remember, it halted at 1280, 1287, has not gotten higher than that since. So we'll wait to see if it wants to keep on pushing higher and higher and higher. And there goes ALZN, man. There is almost no stopping this name, I feel like. But it will flush, so you got to think about having your route. We're only in 15% of this one. It's ALZN, and it is beautiful. Nvidia's pretty sweet as well, as that keeps going. I know right now we're locked in the money at $1.30 on Nvidia, and I like to see what's going to happen here with that one. Palantir, a little bit of a dip. We just got some out. ALZN, though, the darling of the day right now. 50% in the money or so on this position. Let's see how much higher this one wants to go.
Yes, sir. And just be careful with those. Remember, we always say trade with stops. I know that's something everyone does around here, but that stock could easily halt in either direction at any moment. I don't know if anyone's trying to short it. I personally would not be trying to short that name. I think that's a little too crazy. GovX just tried to go, and everyone's got to have their own trading style. I probably could have scalped this out into VWAP, but that was never the plan. For a stock like this, I'm looking for it to break into this range. So if either it holds on to 75s, take a 50-cent hit to try and make 50 cents to a buck, right? Like that's the plan of action. If I'm taking it out in there for a 20 or 30-cent win and risking that 50 pennies on these kind of plays, that doesn't make any sense to me. And at the end of the day, if you can't explain your trade, you don't have a trade, you just have a gamble. And that's what I try to do so I can be a little bit more consistent. So try to have a trade. If you like a scalp trade in a stock like this, then wait till it settles down, because if it loses this $10 level, I'm expecting gap fill back into $8. Let's go to the desk for happening now.
You just got the consumer board leading index change on a month-over-month basis for July coming in lower than expected here, so dropped by 0.6%. We were seeing consensus and forecasts of a 0.3% drop, previously dropping by 0.2%. So slightly larger than expected drop here for the CB leading index change, though the S&P 500 continuing to make these higher lows, bouncing here around that 555 level. Nice little bounce here. This is the only economic number we're getting today and really over the next few days. But keep in mind, we do have the Jackson Hole Symposium hitting on Wednesday until Friday, as well as the FOMC meeting minutes from the July meeting coming on Wednesday. So there'll be a lot to watch out for on the economic data side heading forward throughout the week. In terms of stocks to watch today, we do have AMD here, still up about 1%, announcing that they'll be acquiring ZT Systems in this $4.9 billion acquisition. We also have as well Zim Integrated Shipping, ZIM, one of two earnings names today, the other one being Estee Lauder. They did actually beat here for GAAP earnings per share and for sales, and they raised their 2024 EBITDA guidance. So good look for ZIM. Lots to keep an eye on today and this week, guys.
No, definitely lots to keep an eye on. So I had we had one short idea initially, but went hunting for another when the market started to look red. You'll see that I'm into Intel off of VWAP here underneath that $21 level. As long as you know where you might want to go, if there's strength or weakness, I think that's going to make some sense. So it's already starting to come right back in. Previous close was 2087. So if it gets down there, that's where we're going to get some bids out right in front of the previous close.
Boy.
If we get VWAP again, great. No AMD, but now heading to the downside and about to turn red is going to be Intel. Just looking for something to be on the short side of. Fubo TV, still at that $2 level. So maybe we get a VWAP retrace again. We added to it at the $2 level. Average price now $1.96. If it loses 95, I'm out. Then we'll hunt for a VWAP retracement trade on Fubo and Tesla. Still nothing doing for me on Tesla. You can be patient. No breakout at 220. No dip into 214. So we just have to be a little bit patient with Tesla and the chart as it tries to load up there. It just lost VWAP. So you're now all of a sudden in a bit of a trend back the other way on Tesla. There's your 214, bottom there. Looks like it's headed again for that 214 level. So Fubo still working, just broke that $2 again. I'm sitting on the offers in front of 5s and 10s to get some out as it goes higher.
All right, excellent trading, I believe. All right, so, oh man, we just stopped out at 1350 basically twice here on ALZN. So again, you know, this name could fall pretty far here and it wouldn't really matter to me that much. We sort of talked about, we only have 15% left. I will get a piece out now if we can get back above 13. That seems like the reasonable thing to do. Let's see if it gets one more bump up, and then if we're able to hold on to something, then we will do that again back there for us. You know, we talk about this floor, 3 or 4 positive traders there behind us, so that's good for sure. As I think a top name has also been ZIM, so that's going to be another name that's been looked at here today and traded by some of the traders. So other than some of the names that I've been on here and going over, this is going to be another top name. So ZIM with a nice move today, up 20% and still looking to go higher. All right. Look, wow. All right. Oh yeah, that's right. You got out of your Nvidia there. We're long Nvidia now, and it just fell back into 124, which again we don't have many shares right now, including less than 10%. We don't have more than 10% of any of these positions other than Roblox. We have about half of our Roblox still. But Nvidia does drop into that level, which we should have bought again down there at 123.80. So my bad not being on that, but not my bad at all right here, guys, as the diamond hand is in the building right now, as we are up monstrous on this trade now, as there it goes, man, 13.50 out on ALZN, Neil. Neil, that's a $5 winner on an $8 name right there. So that's a monster. Back over to you. Let's go.
Let's go. Love those big percentage gains. That's what we talk. A lot of times you got to talk in that percentages because dollar stock moving $1. Does it matter? Does it not? They'll move so much faster. Penny stock will go 30, 40%, no problem. Yeah, we've seen those. And wow, lock and loaded, see how far it can go at this particular point. You just never know. As I always said, you never want broke taking profit. That's why you usually see some scalps out on the way because, as we said, anything can happen on those.
Oh, man.
Look, AMD is a bit of a dog, and so I have to change. You can have all the plan in the world, and I can say I liked it short off 155, but it's failing different levels here. Obviously, it's going to be weak underneath VWAP. We grabbed Intel. That's working to the downside. The market overall is holding red. So we are in a slight false breakout, trying to break out through the lows. If we take out lows, then I don't want to only be short on Intel. I want to see if I can crack some AMD. If it holds under 150, there's a double bottom break at 148 that can come into play. Still say 145 is going to be support there. Fubo is just doing its dance. I think it looks absolutely fine. Forgot to mention Alibaba to everybody. Alibaba, while we were trading other things, oh yeah, Alibaba. Alibaba does not dip into 83 bucks. It goes to 83.5. It then holds 84. It's now on the way to $85. So the continuation play for everyone out there is continuing to be fantastic. Michael Noss even mentioning he liked Alibaba. Hope he got some long. I don't think we'll see VWAP again, but the next available dip on Alibaba. Stick to your plan. This one's been a long since last week on that 82.5 break. Oh boy.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I mean, you guys want to talk about like just real trading, and Neil said when your plan changes or when your plan alters, you got to alter with it. Today we are lucky enough not to have to do any of that. Palantir dripped right in, boom. Nvidia, again, you know, the rich get richer on this name, man. Nvidia, huge move to the upside there. Planned and traded exactly the way we wanted to do that on that one. So like, again, it is about sticking to your plan. Because if you do that, then you're good to go. Our plan on ALZN, we actually almost stuck to it too much, meaning we had our 8 break in the pre-market. When this came in, I didn't even really notice it because it flew in so quickly and everything else was just going insane, at that time. And our net was just ripping with Nvidia, Palantir, Google. I mean, we talked about that, well documented. I mean, this is why it's live trading. And this is why we're one of one. You know, my trading is going to be one of one, you know? And I mean, you got to be into what you're doing and understand that when you're looking at multiple names, you are going to miss some opportunities. So I actually felt like right there, when that ripped up to 850 and then pulled back, I was like, oh no, we just made a new high and pulled back. Like we made some new highs here, pulled back. So we got a little nervous, got some out for flat there. Then we took 30 cents and was like, oh, we'll take 30 cents. Then all of a sudden it was $3 up there. And then now we just took $5. And now this name, as Neil mentioned, in the money almost. I mean, we're long at 8. We're $6.50 in the money, $7 in the money on 8. So not bad, up 80x% right here on this trade alone. And you're right. It's not about percentage. It's not about anything. At the end of the day, it's about P&L. So when you're looking down at the P&L of your stocks, and you realize, oh my gosh, what a great day it's been on Nvidia, Palantir, and Google, you say, you know what, we're still right where we need to be. We found our home. Our home is trading, and it has been absolutely fantastic, and it's going to keep on going. At least I feel like that. July was a monster month. And then now August, I mean, like we said, we came back from our vacay. We missed the best week of the year, but come back to the highest grossing week of the year, up more than 5% on the NASDAQ last week alone. And then it's not stopping. And then I look over and I blink right now. What we're up net today washes all of last week. And it's 10 o'clock. So, I mean, this is exactly the kind of stuff that we're talking about. So hopefully we'll continue to go. Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, if they're not hitting the like and subscribe for this trading, then yeah. Then what is going on? There's Nvidia, Neil, right back through again. It's a chicken dinner winner. Make sure you do hit that like and subscribe as we just continue to sit here. Look, I mean, look where Palantir is, guys. Honestly, you guys can see, and this is the one thing that I learned when I was with Adam, Neil, in London. And I always say this, I was like, real sees real. And he told me it's quite clear when they're watching the show on some of these winners that we're putting up, how we're explaining everything, the plan of action. So I do respect all of that. And a lot of you real traders can definitely see some of the damages that are putting up here, including ALZN, which right now just tried to take 15 right there again and stop. So ALZN really starting to sing right now. This is an absolutely monster day. I want to thank everybody for watching and go over to the desk with A.
Be aware of Zeekr here, ZK, about 6% right now, getting a little bit of a volume spike a few candles ago here. CNBC reporting that Waymo has announced that they're developing this robo-taxi with less expensive technology, and this driverless tech is set to be integrated into the Geely Zeekr electric vehicles. So ZK set to have some of this integration with Alphabet-owned Waymo here, guys.
Zeekr, yeah, that's not usually a stock that we trade, but it's usually worth a look on some days on earnings plays like that. We're out of our shares of Fubo on the dip buy, and we're only in the breakout at $2. So, it's going to get to that well, okay, I shouldn't say anything with certainty. It looks like it's going to get to that $2.20 level, which was big resistance here on the daily, go all the way back to the beginning of the year, multiple times, support, resistance in the 220s. We get to that spot. If I was flat and I was looking fade on Fubo, then it'd be 225 and a 230 that I'd be thinking short. So if we get to that price, I want to, again, hold on to only 10% of it. So I'm on the offer in the teens. I'm going to get one more out in the 220 range, and then we'll just see where this one starts to go once it gets there. So Fubo continuing to trend higher. This was the break that didn't work on Friday for me. Well, I mean, I tried it on Friday at 165 or 161, I think it was actually. And just a continuation play. It didn't give the dip back into prior support, so the only thing left to play was the initial break, the hold of VWAP, missing out on a higher low and a $2 break on Fubo. So we'll see if we get to that 220. At this point, up 40%. I'm not expecting any news with regards to this and that, I guess, appeal that's going to happen from the bigger names, the Disneys and the Warner Brothers. But if something were to hit, I have a trailing stop the whole way through. I'm never trading that thing to the upside without a trail. Still an Intel short off of VWAP. It just tagged $21 and trying to hold back under VWAP. But if it breaks, I'm not fighting this stock. I reloaded it at 96. If it breaks 21 even, I'm out. I don't want this thing holding VWAP and trying to squeeze. It's so weak recently that it could turn strong, if that makes any sense. It's at such big lows that any break of a resistance on Intel, you want to make sure you're not on the wrong side of the trend. For now, it's worked for 10 cents. We'll see if we can get it again.
We have an offer upside for Nvidia. Again, this is $1.50. We're going to wait to see if we get 125.35s or not. I mean, that's just right into this area. Let's see if we can take this top out again. If we do, great. But I would like to get a piece out if that does happen. We are waiting for another halt, and I don't know if it's going to come through or not here on ALZN as we go up to $15 again and just sitting at the highs. We've sort of gone through this name a couple times here. It's going to be, well, it'll now be close to P&L 1. I mean, Nvidia will be there right now. I have to do the math. I'm still in both of these. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening. But then Palantir is just like creeping on all these guys as well. as this name continues to get higher and higher here at its high of the day. So we have here the low of the day and the high of the day right now on Palantir, trying to see if we can combine that to make the high of the day the pre-market high of the day and see if that one wants to come in. Roblox has been sort of the, we're 4 for 4 right now, and we're in the money now on Roblox, and hopefully that will become a winning trade for us. ALZN's a monster. Google, come on. I mean, like I said, we're into 10% of all of these names left. Google's been huge, absolutely huge. Nvidia's been the biggest and the baddest. So I feel like we're justified on all of that. Palantir, and the only one left is Roblox. So there's 4 huge stocks, really. And what we're just trying to do right now is figure this all out. Tesla, I'm hearing in my ear, starting to rip.
It broke the 220 level.
Yeah, the only thing we wanted was 220 long, and we missed that one. So there you go. Like, that was, again, a pretty easy long there. And it's, that's too bad, because that's one we should have had. There's a banger long right there. I'm sure some of the guys, especially, I mean, I'm going to say, I haven't looked, but I'm going to say maybe Max has this long. I mean, that's an easy, I feel like an easy long, breaking through 220 there. We love even levels, right? We smashed Apple through 220. We are breaking Nvidia, I believe, 120 the same way. There goes Tesla. Nice smash there, all the way to 220.75 on Tesla. Now pulling back, but good trade there if you had that initial break. Like I said, breakouts, other than like these kinds that are like intraday now, it's 10:15. They've been well, but I've been burned on breakouts that have been like the first couple minutes, including Palantir 31, and I think it was Google 160, or 161. So believe it or not, like both those longs are huge right now, but you trade with what you dealt with as we get. There's Adam. Yeah, we could get that. Yeah, crowd. I mean, I'm long crowd in my personal account, so we can look at that as well. But yeah, you're right, Adam, if you were talking about Tesla retesting 220, because it just did come in there.
Ryan likes CrowdStrike as well. That's another thing we talked about on Friday. He liked Crowd. I haven't checked Dutch Brothers because I know he liked that one. They got a downgrade. But Tesla 220 did get, as Sean said, it got to the 75 level, pulled back in there. Now it's trying to retest the 221. This is a blue sky of sorts setup. Not everything in the daily chart, but when you pop up to 15, from here, 220 area, you've got like 230, and it's wild, like 230 to 235. That's the day that it last saw the 220 area at least. So there's a pretty decent gap if this can hold. Want to look for places to reload this on the way back in. Obvious could be the 220 level or just wherever the heck it decides it wants to consolidate. That's what it's going to be all about. So that 220 break, we're waiting for it. No break, no break. Finally broke, and now it's headed to the upside. Thank you very much for the refill, Rob. Needed that coffee to get going. Looks like you are finding a little bit of, this market, you got to be in the right ones, because this market, a little bit of resistance up off the top. Like, you're actually finding lower highs here on the overall market and still red on the NASDAQ, even with things like Tesla breaking higher. So unfortunately, it's not exactly a rising tide lifting all ships. So Tesla going, Fubo did not quite get to the 220. I was sitting at 222. Well, if 218 is going to be that local high in front of the 20s, I'll see if I can't get that out on the other side of 220 as that one continues to go higher, up 40% in its own rights. It only has a 17% short float, and because this story is the kind of thing that it could be nothing for them because they could lose the appeal, I expect there's going to be people looking to take some profit. So I don't necessarily think this is going 100% or anything like that. I think it's going to 225, 230. So I want to be getting more profit out because, the big boys tend to win lawsuits, and they're definitely outgunned.
Yeah, we called that 220 level, so I think that'll be a good one to look at. We had no idea how far ALZN would go. And again, we only have 5% left of this one, so we'll leave that for what it is. We're out of things. I don't know about a reload anywhere, really. We're holding on to this Google as it comes right back into the bottom again. And again, like just learning lessons every day, that's why you clean these stocks out. Like even if you think that Google or whatever has a chance to get higher and higher, when you're putting up the numbers and you've hit your targets, regardless for the day, there is something about being greedy and there's something about, getting out when levels are hit, right? And so that's what we've been doing today, getting out when levels have been hit. And as Neil mentioned, it's really kept us where we need to be and, kept us right there. And like I said, it's tough. not everyone's going to be green today, and you know, not everyone's going to be green any day, as this market has a very easy way of humbling trades that you think might be good that turn out to be bad real quick. So we do get a little bit of a reload here on, am I still on Google to show you guys? Yes, so there's a nice little reload down there on Google. I'm a little bit weary of all of these trades now. I mean, this is this is a little bit of a face slapper on the reload here for Google. So let's make sure we take some out. I guess I can cancel my Fubo 167 fill. There goes Google though. Again, the amount of money that we're making on Google, I don't think we would have made this much on Fubo for myself, but here we go. Nice reload there on Google down to 164.50. Good little level there. Let's go Google. It's still going higher. Okay, I was nervous about that trade. Nvidia looking to buy dips again, but let's wait to see if we get something around this 123.80 area, because right now we can afford to be picky. Like I said, the day is really on right now. It's risk on for me early. We don't need it to be risk on late, but we'll keep trying some of these levels until eventually they break. So Roblox, we're still waiting for 50s to break. We sort of knew we were in a little bit of trouble on this one because it was red on the day. And if the market did this, we knew this was always a possibility. So there it goes. So there goes Google. Again, this is how you stay green. We talk about that. Google falls back in and we just get out. We don't need to be in this name right here at this level. So take it for what it's worth. Get out. Here comes Nvidia, just flew in. We just got a bid on Nvidia at 85s.
Yeah, things are starting to really fly in. So Tesla loses the 220. Need to see it hold that bid. I was going to go to Apple, but then Tesla came right back underneath the 220. If it holds, I'm going to jump right back into the trend, maybe even take another breakout. But I just saw the market go big red when this happened. 223 on Apple, Friday low, Thursday support. This is a huge level for Apple. So I want to be out of anything that I think is going to threaten with the market. Fubo is going to do its own thing. Intel's kind of the downside. So that doesn't really matter. But if we lose this 213 and the market loses the bottoms, I don't want to be sitting with longs at any highs. I'd rather be getting dip buys off support. So I need to see the bid established. So we go to the small cap recap with Adara.
Just as we had that move down in the market, bit of a topping tail candle here coming into the IWM, the Russell 2000 here, slightly positive on the day right now, as we have quite a few small cap names making some moves to start the week, starting with Sonder, S-O-N-D. Sonder is a hospitality company. They announced a long-term strategic licensing agreement with Marriott and also separately secured roughly $146 million in additional liquidity. SOND does have a short float here of about 8.7%. We also have this one, of course, we know we've had Sean involved with ALZN Neuro. So that is ALZN. This one up more than 400% still. In terms of context background for this name, they did announce a partnership with the Massachusetts General Hospital for this study for their PTSD treatment. They also do have here a really small float, 637,000 shares, and a market cap of around $1.73 million. So just some float and market cap background for ALZN. Last but not least, we do have VRAX. Of all of these MPOX related names, this one definitely holding up the best here. EBS red on the day, GOVX selling off a bit, but VRAX still up about 100% as we do have ongoing interest in some of these MPOX related stocks. Worth noting as well, they do have here a market cap $5 million, float of about 1.73 million shares, guys.
Yeah, I just said to Neil, thank you, Adair, for that one. I said, how amazing is Nvidia? Honestly. Like the market, I mean, first of all, we got stopped out on Google. It's okay. Look at this. Let's go. I mean, that is honestly
another one.
We're having the morning today. This is going to be the best morning that I've had in a heck of a long time. And it's, again, just sticking with the trend, sticking with what you know, sticking with what you're best at. And we actually got lucky on something here, because this will probably be, again, it already is a huge name, but I feel like we got lucky that this one started to go again. We're going to continue to look at these now that we're playing with house money on all this. But, I mean, it's this one. We've just reloaded this down here at 123.80, and we said it again as if we have our own crystal ball built into our head. It's like we said that Nvidia would be the trade that we'd really want. We said this on Thursday, Friday, today, again, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday of last week. Every day, this was like, if there's going to be a name, this is the name that I want to focus on, and it's been the banger. And all we've done is dip buy every single time. And that's exactly, go find it at Trader TV, Sean. Go look back at all last week. Every single one of these is up. Every single time I'm sitting here, it's free trade ideas. And right into there, man, we talk about going long, buying dips. And Nvidia's been fantastic today at exactly that. So really proud to have stuck with the plan and really just kept it going here today. We are not going to be at our highest spot because we did wind up losing on Google there a little bit. Well, we didn't lose on the stock, my bad. We lost P&L on that trade because we were long here, got a little bit out, then gave some up. So I don't even think we lost on this trade. It's just we were higher as this was starting to go up. So we did give some back. But right there, just as soon as it goes down $1, it goes right back up $1. So now we'll see what happens with Nvidia. And Roblox holding out, man. We were actually down here bidding 60s, in the 60s, 65s. It only gets as low as 77. So I know that Tesla sort of came back in and you wanted to relook at it. Did you get long again?
I did not catch it, but it wasn't quite fast enough. I'll get to that in a quick second. Vrax just halted to the upside. 617, this thing just halted. I jumped on the bid as soon as I got to it, but no fill for me. And the only reason I liked jumping on the bid is it hadn't broken out the high just yet. So a chance to get it before it took out the top, essentially risking wherever it would open, looked pretty appealing to me. So it'll be a 5 or 10 minute halt. There's just basically no way to know how long that's going to be. Sometimes with a lack of liquidity, these halts end up being 10 minutes long. So we'll check back in about 3 minutes. Currently, the indicated open is only 3 cents higher, but that's something that can easily change. The likelihood of it opening flat usually is pretty low, but it certainly can happen. I just went ahead and canceled. Try to catch the curl on the other way on Tesla. Instead of sitting on the bid out in front of 219 where the previous resistance was and this little support in here, I went for it to bid, wait for it to catch a bid, and then try to take the long back up through. So I prefer doing that, getting it on, say, the back end of the trade instead of the front end, but you do run the risk of, you don't let it run you over. You might not be able to catch it when it goes like a moving freight train. We're just going to go back to the 220 level. I don't want to take a breakout at 1030, so it's the next available dip buy that I'm going to work with over there on Tesla. Just got to be willing to be patient for that. Intel, we reloaded. It gave us 5 cents when we're risking 5. Reloaded a third time. It breaks out the top, not fighting it. Shorting 96s, getting out at 01s. Do not want this breaking back out. And the reason for this, I don't want to get stubborn with it. Intel got destroyed and now is trying to hold bids to fill in some of the gap. As long as it keeps failing at 21, there's nice little pot shots to be had at it, but this might just want to break it out. And if it starts breaking out above last week's highs, I would venture to think it's just worth it to be long the stock instead of fighting the short. So Vrax, I'm going to have that one up. I don't think I want to take a reopen print on it. To me, you either get the halt and get your shot and then hold through, or look for the open and have something set up on Vrax. So plan of action Tesla, looking for the next dip. Try the same move here. If it dips into prior support like a 220, catch it on the other direction. Vrax, I have to play it by ear. I don't know where it's going to open. If it opens above the high, then I can always look for like a breakout long with a stop into the previous halt price. If it opens underneath, I don't want to touch it at all. Still has that overhead resistance. But Tesla's certainly the one that I want to jump back into. So we can catch that on a false break through 221.50 here and then have people get trapped, look for a pullback to rejoin. That's going to be my plan. Fubo, just giving it back to that VWAP in here. As I said, I would take out all but the last 10% of Fubo. Did not make its way to 220. Going to let it bounce off VWAP. That's what it did before. So just keep with the plan of action. If it holds on to VWAP, the trend is good, and we can catch some kind of a long off of consolidation. Fubo's been a good one, but you do not need this getting to that big resistance spot that we're talking about, 220, and coming all the way back. So for myself, we've been scalping it the entire way. A little bit of a bigger move off the $2 than you had initially off the 185. Now we just need to see VWAP hold on. If it loses VWAP, it loses me for the long. Let's see what happens, guys. Let me know what you guys are trading out there. I see John M saying AMD at some fresh highs. Okay. I had one idea for AMD. Well, two of them if you count 145. But that was get to 155 and only there look for a resistance spot on AMD. It's about 3% to the upside and screaming, but I'm not going to sit there and compromise. If it's this strong, let it get to your price. Just because I like a short at 155 doesn't mean I want to be short at 152.5 and then catch that one just breaking faces off. Let it get there. On Friday, I said the same thing about Alphabet. I said I like one level on Google, and if it gets to 165, it gets to 165. Let it trade $5 higher. It got to 165, and it was a pullback right into VWAP for a couple of bucks. If AMD wants to do the same thing, I'm going to be patient letting it get to that 155 zone.
Always nice. We went and got another tea there. I got the lemon this time. And then there you go. Nvidia comes back and does. I like that kind of talk, man. Be patient. Be patient with everything. But we continue to just, we're patient, but at the same time, when we see trades, just missed that one too. I was going to say, when we see trades that need to be taken, you need to take them, right? And so some big levels today that have hit all over the place for us, including that Palantir. I just want to tell you, I am about to get out of ALZN if we break 11. So I put that order in before we went to get the coffee there, the tea. And that was because this is the only stock that's in risk for me right now. We want to buy more Roblox. We want to get out of ALZN if it breaks 11 for us here today. So if there's any questions you guys want to ask me there in the chat, please go on all of that and let me know there in the chat if there's anything you guys want to talk about. We're happy with this. I don't know if Neil's talking about this, but we're happy with this Disney move up here again today, as this is a name that we've had in our long-term portfolio for quite a while, and we didn't get to reload anything because where we're long on Disney is actually lower than where we are right now. We were really taking these trades down here at 80. So although we can clearly see what's happening right here with Disney, we can also see the opportunity to get lower than that. So I was waiting to reload it a little bit lower. We only got out of, I actually have to check. I don't even want to say a number. I don't even know if it was half. But on the way up here, as we had Nelson Peltz, and we sort of was playing it, not necessarily for that reason, but just because of the brand and loyalty and whatnot. And that seemed to have paid off there. And then all of a sudden, Nelson Peltz came through and lost the board seats, and then it's tumbled right back down. But they did have good talk about profitability, of course, with streaming coming through now and finally becoming profitable, I believe, in this next quarter. So we'll wait to see what happens with Disney, but it is a smoke show to the upside. We're out of Google, which is like a bah humbug type of situation, because we could still be in this name, and we actually chose to get out of it there, and that was probably a mistake on that break. But hey, no trading, no cry. I mean, this is the big one. As we were getting out of Google, we smoked Nvidia down there. So definitely know where your bread is buttered, and it's definitely right here with Nvidia, as it has been for the last little while. So Palantir 50 cents, Nvidia $1, Roblox trying to get reloaded down here. Maybe we'll get a little less patient and take something in the 70s, but I was waiting for 60s. It's Nvidia, it's Palantir, it's Roblox, and it's Adara with our crypto update.
Fascinating look here for BTC on the daily chart. Not only are we continuing this downward trend, but we're actually coming into a very interesting level here, this 58,000 level that we did have a little bit of support at, coming back to early May 2024, finding as a little bit of resistance in early July. Now currently trading right at that level, basically flat on the day after wicking into the 60,000, closing lower as of yesterday. Right now, still down about 2.5%, just above 58,000. Ethereum down a little bit more here, down about 3.5%, below that 2,600 level. The rest of these names generally going to be pretty mixed. We do have a little bit of strength here in Tron and Ripple and BNB, but we've got Solana down about 2.5%. Dogecoin, Cardano all down about 3%, more or less. So interesting look here, as we generally have a little bit of weakness in some of these larger crypto-related names, guys.
So I said over here in Fubo, if it loses VWAP, it loses me. So we just broke down off VWAP. We took that last leg, tried to hold it to see if it would break out the top, kind of hold it for the dream, but it ends up breaking VWAP. And we can maybe look at a couple of things here. The breakout price was about $1.85, opening range bottom right here, like 184. So that could be a nice little spot. It's trying to catch a bid as we speak. Always like pre-market consolidation level, so 175 in play. And if it goes If it goes all the way V-shaped, then you go back to square one, which would be $1.65 here. That VRAX looks like it'll be a 10-minute halt, obviously. I mean, it's now been 9 minutes, so I'm assuming it's going to be 10 minutes. So in 1 minute, it'll open. 617 is where VRAX halted. 645 is the current, 650 is the current tap on this theoretical auction price. So it looks like it wants to open pretty much at the high instead of breaking it. I like halt levels in general. If you have nothing to work off of, if it ends up breaking out the top, any long above the top, I don't know where it's going to open right now. It's indicating under. If it ends up breaking out the top, then this halt price I like for a stop level on VRX. I have not paid for locates on this one. Don't know that I want to do so just yet. And the other thing I'm looking for is you're getting a bit of a dip here in Tesla. So next available dip, just how far it wants to go. Yeah, VRAX doesn't even care about that tap. Yeah, that was nowhere. Yeah, it ends up opening much higher on that tap, already at the 770 level. So there was no dip to be had. Let's see if it gives any chance down around that 660 level. So pretty clean off that open on VRAX. If you took the opening print, it looks like it was actually 660.
All right. I mean, I guess you guys can see what just happened there on our friend and a good friend of ours today, Nvidia, right there. So we just took $1.50 on the reload. So a pretty good happening right there. We did not get more shares on Roblox. All right, here we go. Now, bear with me here. It's 10:34. So we are right now, we have no LFT. So those of you that are at Real Trading will know about LFT, and that is that you're at your highest spot you've been at all day. And that does include your unrealized as well. So right here, Roblox is starting to go. It's come back into this area. I'm waiting for 20s up here. That might be a little bit much. We're only long here at O's, so we could get out now and be flat on the stock, be down some fees. That could be a trade if you're nervous about this. But at the end of the day, I still really, really like the long back in here again. So I think that could be something to look for. Today would be Roblox holding out to see if it gets back there. I'm waiting, actually 20 is way too high. What am I doing? That must have been there from before. Let me just put, let's put an order in and around, some of those recent highs. Like if we can get 10s maybe, that should be, move this water bottle. I'm actually going to be reintroducing later on today the real Hydration Nation. Guys, I mean, this Hydration Nation goes back well beyond my guy Sharif, well beyond my guy over here. Everybody, man, Hydration Nation goes back to when we started the show. So the original OG of Hydration Nation will be back this afternoon. No more, I mean, look, these water bottles are nice. All right. What is that, Momo over there? What's up, Momo? Scan that QR code below. All right. Roblox, Palantir, what else you guys want to look at? Yeah, Nvidia, hey man, we're almost out. LFT, let's freaking trade. I agree with that one. Let's go. I mean, if you're looking for trades, we're right here, right now. The mistake for me again was how good was that Tesla reload down there at 220. I mean, it fell right back in. So we break it, falls back in, and then goes right back up to the upside again. So Tesla 220 break, cash money 3 or 4 times right there on Tesla. So you guys looking for some big trade alerts, you definitely had an opportunity to nail and have a monster, not a big trade alert, a monster trade alert there for Tesla off of 220. I mean, it looks just as good as the Nvidia trades as well. So we'll wait to see. Obviously, we hit Nvidia to the high side there and absolutely take that one to the bank. We'll wait to see if that's going on. Roblox is the one in question. I said to Neil actually a couple minutes ago, I haven't even looked at any of the scanners today because the only scanner that we've had has been our own scanner that we put out here on the watch list. Everything that we've been trading and looking at is pretty much on there. Oh, ALZN came out on that 11 break right there. So it does come out, it does break it, and I'm happy to say it's PL number 2. So ALZN, monster move. Nvidia, though, it might have been PL1 ALZN, but this little reload for Nvidia, a friend of mine for sure. So that one sort of rocketed that right back up there to number 1. I guess it didn't like being number 2 there to ALZN. So that was an absolute monster. And then we said that we liked Mara as well today. But the thing about Mara is it's getting close to now being something to get bought out there at, or bought up to $16. If we can fall back in, that would be a level. It is your day low there for Mara. And we have to check in, I guess, on IBIT to see what that's doing, because we don't necessarily want to be long Mara into a market that the Bitcoin is not trying to hold, and that would make sense. So you get a Bitcoin break right there. Remember, I said that I was
58.
Thinking about being a little short on Bitcoin there today. Well, that's been exactly right. If you shorted off the open, you have a huge winner. If you played short off VWAP, you have it once, twice, and then thrice right there again. So the short's been right for Bitcoin, but we don't have it. So, you know, they always say those that can't do teach, those that can't do talk, those that can do trade. And I don't have that trade there on Mara. So I really wish we would have had that on Mara, but we'll wait to see if we can get that back again down near $16. It's MARA. How many shares left of Nvidia on the reload? We just have that 10% left again. So this was a big out. Thanks for asking that, by the way. That was a big out right there as it came right back to day's high. We were kind of like happy with that. And then we get out at VWAP and get out at the 50-period moving average. I've changed my style. I know you guys want the bangers. Feel like we've given them today huge to you, but you still got to be responsible and respect your levels, right? And so that one was a good one there for Nvidia. If it comes back up, we may or may not get out. Let's go Roblox. That's going to be a big one. Almost back to positive, even if you consider all these fees. We're waiting to get out at 9s. Ooh, we're waiting to get out at 9s. And there's a couple 9 prints right there. We get out of a little bit there. You can see on the NASDAQ, ECN there. So we'll go, yes, sir, on that one. A little bit of a floss for Roblox as it's trying to get back higher.
Yeah, the market's also trying to get back higher. That VRAX, VRAX is yet to break out and make a fresh high, but it's holding on to this $7 level. There's nothing to see on the daily chart. I'm not hiding it or anything like that. Usually I'll zoom out and tell you, hey, this bag holder level, that bag holder level. There isn't one for VRAX. The actual breakout price, you could have had this if you took it just above the previous break, but it hasn't retested. It's holding the line at $7. I'm going to be looking up every couple of seconds here because Tesla's trying to make a bottom above the 220 level, and I am looking for that dip buy off the 220 on Tesla. But VRAX, if we take out a fresh high, I don't want to be punching at $8. I'd like to see it dip one time into 7, run some stops somewhere in here, and then try and get the long, or just hold the $7 outright. So as we look for that one to go, it is Tesla now starting to come back into that 220 level. Higher lows pretty much the entire way on Tesla. Since the VWAP hold, it's kind of lost trend, but I want to see it make a new one after that 220 break. So I'd like to see a new trend start after 220. Something along this will have to form itself, and I'm just looking for the bid off this 220 level as we speak. We'll get on over to some of those small caps. It's about to break that high on VRAX. So no dip back into 7. VRAX taking out the top. 220 Tesla's going to end up coming first, it looks like.
Lots of strength here in some of these sectors. Notably strong here is going to be consumer services. McDonald's and Disney among these names here strongly to the upside. McDonald's getting some positive analyst notes, some price target being maintained here. We also have Disney announcing a new news director for ABC News. So interesting look for those two names. Sector overall pretty strong with the exception, ironically, of last week's big names in this sector, both Starbucks and CMG, slightly to the downside here. Energy minerals, green. Consumer non-durables, very green. Consumer durables led with that Tesla 220 break. Very strong sector here as well. Also lots of strength in health technology and finance. Of course, we have to talk about these tech sectors. Netflix and Google slightly strong on the day, but other than that, a little bit more of a mixed sentiment here in technology services, though keep the sector in mind ahead of PANW earnings tonight. It's going to be Palo Alto Networks, certainly one to watch there. In terms of electronic technology, definitely a bit more mixed. We have Apple, Broadcom here weaker, AMD stronger off of that acquisition news, rest of the sector a little bit weaker. So tech actually not leading the market today, guys.
NASDAQ right now flat on the day, while the ES up 0.26. So a good little look there to talk about diversifying and whatnot. Catching a lot of texts here. That's good. Okay, so
banks are strong.
Oh yeah, banks. Yeah, we love the bank trade as well as we like energy. Let me check out what's going on with XLE. We've been talking about this one. This is a big. I mean, it's the biggest holding of mine in the energy space. So that's really nice to see. Look at the rebound there in XLE. This is a name that I like to buy, especially when we get to some support. So we are all over the XLE. Come on, Roblox. Look, what a day. I mean, when the market's going to hover around here and stay up, and we have 0 shorts today. We have not shorted one thing. We've stuck to our guns. We've only written down on here longs. Like I said, it's a monster day. Palantir continues to hold. Nvidia continues to hold. Let's find something else. What about DraftKings? I'm just trying to find levels. I'm just now starting to look at. I might refresh some of the scanners here because I'm not seeing too much popping up. DraftKings underneath. So this was a level here, and the reason why some of these names are going to be fresh in my head is I was trying to look for something counter right now because we've had such big longs and we're out of everything. We only have 10% of 10% or so of Nvidia, less than that on Palantir, and about 40% left of Roblox. Because I'm getting a little bit meh with this name. I mean, down 1.2% into a flat market. I mean, if this market really gets back down into here, will Roblox really go up? You know, so this is the thing, like when you're trying to fight a stock, you got to think about, you know, what the pedigree of the stock is. Where does it want to move exactly? And does it want to move for you or against you there? So that could be something, obviously, that we want to look at with Roblox. And I sort of say that for and against tongue in cheek. It's like if the market goes down and Roblox is already red, then there's going to be no catalyst for it to continue to go up. So those are the things that go through my head is try to trade. And we mentioned this earlier. There's really 3 things that we look at, and I consider 2 of them basically the same, like support and resistance and breakout. So those are the 2 things. So whether or not you're breaking out on something, which is why I like that 220 on Tesla, why we liked 160, 120 on 220 on Apple, things like that, breakout trades, right? I mean, it's kind of what we thought about with Roblox breaking through 40, so that would be one. And then support and resistance, trying to find some key levels. I mean, again, this is the reason why NVIDIA's P&L number 1 today is because we bought based on this support from Friday, 123, 124. Again, the level listed on here is 124 long. I mean, if you have that trade, you're done. You probably graduated this month if you just put all your risk into that trade. So that was a great one as well, and that's a support trade. Then the other one is relative strength and weakness. And I feel like that one very, very important to understand, and that's the one that's got me here on Roblox because we're trading Oppo. It's relatively weak against the market. I should not be long. Let's just hold out. As I said, Neil, we're at our highest spot we've been at all day. It's been quite the morning to trade. So we'll hold out on Roblox and see if we can get a little rabbit in our hat with this one, although it does go against what we normally do.
Sometimes known as magic, rabbit in the hat, the old faithful. And Vrax, hopefully they've got more than magic with these, I don't know, vaccines. I guess they're Mpox vaccines. So we'll see if that's going to be the case. Did not want to take a breakout on it. So in lieu of that, the only opportunity is going to be a dip buy. It's pulling right back into some previous resistance levels here at about 750. So there's a bit of a liquidity grab happening underneath $8. If it can hold this, get back above 8, take break 8, stop underneath that local bottom at $7.69. So that's going to be the look for me on Vrax. What we can do is, I don't want to use a stop order to get in because I want to have my stop order to protect me. So I'm going to be actually punching that one myself through that $8 level. So I'll get that locked and loaded. Tesla's a bounce off 220 currently. It's heading right back up, but I feel like I'm going to want to try and get this one manually on VRAX. All of these MPOX names, just understand that they can move on an absolute dime. They're more small float than they are short floats. So the float on this thing is like 4 million, and it's done 63 million shares. So like it can have explosions of illiquidity if it wants to, but for now, it's just churning through shares and having tons of liquidity. All right, if it loses this local top or local bottom, then I have to hunt for a different level. I'm just looking for it to break $8. While this is a patience game, Tesla just bounced off 220.
Ooh, I like that.
Failed 221. And when I say failed, I just mean it got to 221 and then pulled right back into the same level. So it got to 221 and pulled right back into 220. So this one, it's not a VWAP trade. This is 220 being resistance and then holding that line. If it loses 220, then I go to looking at VWAP, but only want to be long Tesla as long as it's above VWAP. But I was asked in the chat, hey, do you want to short Fubo now that it's underneath $2? My answer is going to be a no, because it gets above VWAP. I liked it for a long today, and as long as it's going to hold above VWAP, I'd actually be thinking, where can I get back into the trend long if it wants to hold on to VWAP? So no short for me on Fubo. Although if it breaks, look, if it breaks VWAP, I'm open to anything, but I'm not really looking short. It was a great question because it did make a high at that 220, but not looking any shorts on Fubo just yet.
All right, only 10 more minutes and you'll go over to Adara and Sharif. And today's lesson, Sharif, is moving averages, something that we are near and dear to our heart, as those are pretty much the only things that I use there. So listen to Sharif and Adara. I only use simple moving averages, SMA, so they will be talking all about that and what those little funky lines on some charts that you see mean every single day. Watch them, talk about them, trade off of them, then watch Neil and I trade, or myself for sure, trade off these things every single day. So a great lesson there today for that one. So thanks, Sharif, for covering moving averages, because we get so many questions about moving averages and what ones we're looking at, why we're looking at them. So stay tuned in just 10 minutes from 12 to, probably Sharif wishes, from 12 o'clock, from 11 to 2. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. 11 to 2 there in the midday as we get going there today. And we say, bon voyage to Brendo. He'll be gone for a couple weeks as he takes his well-deserved vacation. So that's going to be coming through again. And we'll still be here on the desk and dropping any news, of course, that hits throughout the afternoon. Look, I'm trying to look for more names. Roblox finally starting to go. I feel pretty happy just sitting in all of this. I mean, Nvidia's at the high of the day at 140. 125.40. 140 is its all-time high. We'll see if we can break through that soon as well. But why not, man? I mean, this Nvidia has been the belle of the ball for me recently. It's going to continue to do that. That is very accurate, Ramin. That's what's been happening today. Ramin just goes money, 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 money in my ear. You're spying on me like that. But okay, we do have our segment, which of course is called Money Talks, and it's at the desk right now with Adara.
Big drop here for the DXY for the second day in a row, continuing this downtrend we started here in late June 2024. Lots of economic data to be aware of coming out this week. Not a lot today or tomorrow, though we do have some Fed speak tomorrow afternoon. But on Wednesday, we get the start of the Jackson Hole Symposium. The theme actually has to do with assessing monetary policy. So it'll certainly be something to keep an eye on. We have Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking on Friday at 10 a.m. with regards to the Jackson Hole Symposium. Also, but on Wednesday, the same day that it starts, we also have the FOMC minutes being released from the July meeting at 2 p.m. So keep an eye on all of that for sure. Also in the world of currency, we continue to have the Japanese yen on watch. Strong right now here against the US dollar. Actually, according to data here from Commodity Futures Trading Commission, we actually have hedge funds turning bullish on the yen for the first time since 2021. Bitcoin traders also on watch here because we know when the yen popped up that last time on that Black Monday, we did have Bitcoin move down as well. So lots on watch here as we do have the second pretty strong green candle in a row in the daily chart for the JPY to the USD, guys.
We'll call it Black Monday, even though, I mean, I feel like it was, what's different about that Monday is instead of panic at the open, it was panic selling at the open, I should say, as opposed to like the real Black Monday. It was panic buying, which is a very different thing. So I think it's adjacent to it, but not necessarily the same thing. The market just took out fresh highs. Again, you know what? Some sellers here at Tesla, 221. So again, it gets up here and can't seem to break it out. So we'll see if it does another dip into the 220 level for a reload. If the market's taking highs and you're not making fresh highs, there's always a bit of a caution for me that it might need a little bit more of a dip before it catches the real bid. Still got the eyeballs on that VRAX. It's still holding out the last dip. It wants to try to put in a higher low, but until this catches a bid, I don't want to be assuming it's going to and just guessing at the level. I want it to show me any kind of a support. Once it forms support and starts seeing the buyers, no longer looking for an 8 break. Just going to have to play it off 7 if that's going to be the next opportunity out there. So let's just be a little bit patient with this VRAX. These low float runners, you don't want to catch them when they're falling like a knife. Ideally, you want to get that little rebound play here. So $7 the next level to see if it can hold on VRAX. WK saying ASTS is going. Yeah, worth a look on that ASTS. I just feel like these ones are doing the bigger volume, the MPOX names.
My pen. Okay, Nvidia is now $2 in the money on that reload. Oh, maybe I left it getting, I must have left my pen getting that T. Okay, all good. I like to have that pen. Look, what I was doing right now, because we're just in chill mode, man, with only 5 minutes left, what I'm doing now is I'm calling up my month. And I'm going to look back because, we could sit here and talk all we want about do this trade, do that trade, or this is the trade I'm looking at. But if you don't actually know if you're up or down on the month on some of the strategies that you're doing, so I'm actually going to try to look back and figure out some of these breakout things. I don't want to be like, hey, we're down on breakout trades if they're actually up. I want to be, when I'm telling you that we're actually putting up numbers on Nvidia, I want to make sure that what is my number one stock. And we did this, we actually did this process last month, and it helped us out. And again, I'll keep talking about when I met up with Adam. I don't know why, because we talked a lot about trading. And it was just like, I told him that I had done the research and looked up that my number one stock for the month of July was actually the TQQs. And that, gave me more confidence to look to trade this thing a little bit more. So when we started doing that, and then again, I'm going to look at all the numbers here. I mean, even if you look, which a lot of traders around here may look, or a lot of you traders, and when I say around here, it's all of us, would look and maybe not see much green on any of the stocks that we trade. And I think that that's true for many traders, even the most experienced traders. And that's where you got to just kind of say to yourself, hey, look, I'm going to rethink about some of the strategies that have been working out, maybe. And I think that we had Dan Emmons in the chat that can talk about this again, another real trader here, not for real trading, but a guy that I know trades for real. I shouldn't say I know that, but just in trusting what he's been posting and things like that. And that is that there's certain times when you're going to be excited about trading and it's going to fit your style of trading. There's other times when it's not. So even if you've been having, some real bad days, weeks, months, even some really great ones, same analysis is required. Look back, figure out where you're right, figure out where you're wrong, and then just go for it. Adjust your trading style and get right back in it. There's certain styles that I, used to trade that I've been not great on the last little while. So we're trying to hold back on those styles and focus on the names that clearly have been working out for us. Like, look at this Roblox trade. I mean, we just talked about this. So we will actually go 5 for 5 here today on the morning. And sometimes when you go 5 for 5, it's great. Sometimes you make a little bit more, sometimes you make a little bit less. But because we're sort of on a little bit of a heater here, we're able to up our share sizes. And when you're on a good run and you make these calls, you can actually look down and say, oh, that's a decent net, So sometimes you'll trade with smaller shares when the confidence isn't there, but when it is there is when you should bump up. So that's just a little bit of a teaching moment there for you and for myself, because I feel like I'm learning every single day that I sit here as well. I do know I want to stay long Nvidia though. We're going to stay long that name, still $2, 37 cents in the money on Palantir, and 25 cents now in the money on Roblox. So cheers to everybody. Hit the like and the subscribe. And good trading all around today, I think, Neil.
Yeah, exactly. Only 3 minutes to go. I got to show you, if you don't have an entry, you don't have an exit, you don't have a plan, you don't have a trade. So Tesla tried to break that 221. You can see it. It took it out. The second it was out and about and looking like it wanted to get to the highs, big hammer candle loses the 220 level. But if you heard me say, as I was getting into this, long off 220, scalp to 221, we'll see if we can hold it. But if we lose the 220, want to be patient enough to wait for VWAP next. So I like the long either here for a higher low or holding out that 220. And where did that come from? It's not rocket science where we like 220. Go all the way back to before that Black Monday on the Thursday. You had support to resistance, then you had Friday's top at 220 bucks. So a lot of times we like indicators in the afternoon. Like at this time of day, generally I like VWAP retracements, but as long as 220 is out and about, I want to take shots off of this level in addition to VWAP as well. So I'm not putting any, I just saw DVDRD in the chat saying, hey, Tesla short on. Do you? No questions asked, man. I'm still looking at this as a potential upward trend, and it can still hold on to this level to try to jump back into it. This is a level we really like this morning. So want to make sure we're giving it multiple shots in here off of that 220 level. It looks pretty good for now, up 1.8%. Certainly, you could always do better. With only 2 minutes to go, I feel like all morning haven't really talked about this name, Apple. Outside of when it got to 223, but you're always looking for new ideas, new key levels. Well, there's 223 once, twice, thrice. Now 4 times it's been key, and the last 3 times have been a support level. I think we're in trouble if we lose 223 on Apple, but you're getting some higher lows off a very key support level as the market's breaking out the top. So I think Apple through VWAP with a key hold there needs to hold above VWAP for me to be bullish, but I think that's certainly a possibility at this moment. So eyeballs are going to be mostly on Tesla and this 220 or VWAP level on a bit of a retrace as we go into the second half of the day. And I have been asked a lot about APDN, Applied DNA, another one of these low float names that's going absolutely haywire to the upside. It's got a nice looking stair-step pattern on APDN. As with anything, no one ever went broke taking profit. It's trying to break out some pre-market highs. We come to the chart for a second. It's trying to take out these pre-market highs as we speak and running into a little bit of resistance as it's doing the pullback into prior highs. That's generally the place where I like taking those better than taking breakout style trades. I just find it's a little easier to have a small risk versus a big reward if you're buying a dip and then you can stop out like a $2 level or a VWAP. But if you're taking a breakout, you don't always have an obvious level on these stocks where you're going to want to get out as a day trader. So be careful with them, but that one nice little upward pattern. Tesla seeming like it's going to lose this 220 battle, so VWAP incoming.
All right, so just a little glance here. I think it'll be P&L number 1 for the show, but the funny thing is the number one, my number 1 P&L name, and it's just off of trading one day this month. It's going to be Meta. So I don't know what trade I put on this one, but Meta on 1 day trade is my top stock of the month. Just trading it for 1 day because I was looking at Nvidia. Some of the Nvidia days are fine, but we did have some losing days. Remember that one day when it just was 119 and it went all the way to 114? That's right. That day we got hit on it. So that's not going to be number 1. The number 1 day is actually on Meta. So we must have I mean, that's changing today, but before today, that was a big call there, Meta, because you know what, Neil, this is now $1 and $2 in the money. Good trading again today. I hope you guys enjoy the show. We're now off to the midday. Thanks, Jermaine, Fabian, and everybody else, Adara and Sharif for the midday or for the opening show as well. And now we'll go over to the midday. See you, everybody.
So.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as that midday show. That is your girl Adara, and I'm Sharif, and we're going to wait for everyone to come.